Chapter 1301. According to the book's current location, since every direction was the same, the few of them casually chose a direction. Sima Yue called Chongming out and got him to lead everyone. The gale in front of them made them unable to open their eyes. Chongming's speed decreased by quite a bit. Chongming, let's change direction. Sima Yue said. All right. Chongming replied and immediately changed direction. But it was the same even if they changed direction. The wind was still blowing towards them. There was no wind in other directions. It's no use. Huang Yingying said. Since every direction is in front, no matter which direction we go, the wind will be blowing towards us. Sima Xiuqi condensed his spirit energy. That spirit energy turned into a faint ripple and wrapped everyone, including Chongming. With this layer of protection, the wind's strength decreased by quite a bit. Let's continue. Sima Xiuqi said to Chongming. All right. The wind resistance decreased. Their speed increased by quite a bit. When that layer of protection disappeared, Huang Yingying set up another one. Then it was Sima Luyun and Sima Lufeng's turn, followed by Wu Lingyu. They took turns. The further they went, the stronger the wind. Chongming couldn't take it anymore. It was Little Rock's turn. Look, isn't it brighter over there? Little Helper looked at the sky in front and cried out in surprise. Seems like it. Are we going to pass through this place? Sima Yue said. Although they didn't encounter any danger on this journey, the strong gale almost made them exhausted. If it wasn't for the fact that they ate a lot of spirit energy recovery pills, even if they passed through this place, their spirit energy would have been depleted. Little Rock kept going forward. Suddenly the gale in front disappeared. The pressure also disappeared. It's gone. Diwu looked up at the sky. Without the pressure, their breathing became smoother. Seems like we passed. Sima Luyun said. The sky here is much brighter than the road in front. It's also much fresher. It's not so gray. Sima Yue said. Yes, there are plants here too. Other than the lack of sun, it's pretty much the same as outside. Little Rock flew forward for a distance, but suddenly fell down. You can't fly here. Little Rock said as he descended. Everyone, protect yourselves. If he fell from such a high place without any protection, he would probably be smashed to pieces. Fortunately, when they were a few dozen meters from the ground, Little Rock flapped its wings a few more times and rose up a few meters, reducing the speed and force of the fall, allowing everyone to land safely. There's a spatial restriction here, we can't fly. Sima Xiuqi looked at the sky. If they couldn't fly, then their journey would be very slow. Not only is there a spatial restriction here, there is also a gravitational pull. Do you feel that your feet are very heavy? Sima Xiuqi said. Yes, it does feel very heavy, Huang Yingying said. Sima Luyun and the others nodded. I think it's fine. I don't feel anything. After saying that, Little Tong raised his leg. It was indeed quite relaxing. I think it's fine too. Sima Yue took 2 steps. Although it was heavier than usual, it didn't affect them too much. Both of you seem to be more relaxed than us, Sima Lufeng said. Could it be that this is based on strength? The stronger you are, the heavier the gravitational pull. It's possible, Huang Yingying said. I can clearly feel that it's a little difficult to lift my feet. Same for me, Sima Xiuqi said. I don't feel anything. Third Mo, what about you? Diwu asked. Both my legs feel like they are filled with lead, Third Mo said. Seems like only Yue, Diwu and Little Tong are less affected by the gravitational pull. Sima Xiuqi walked a few meters forward. Something that usually took a few seconds took a few minutes. We can't go on like this. At this speed, we might not be able to walk out of this place in a few months. We have to think of a way to lessen the gravitational pull, Huang Yingying said. I have an idea, Sima Yue said. Since Little Tong, Diwu and I aren't affected, why don't we walk outside while you guys go into the Little Realm? Little Realm? Whose Little Realm? Huang Yingying asked. Mine. Sima Yue took out the little door and opened the door of the Little Realm. You guys go in first. Come out after you've passed this distance. As people from the inner regions, Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying weren't surprised to see the Little Realm. But they were surprised that she had a Little Realm. She had never relied on her clan. How is it? Sima Yue looked at everyone. This idea is not bad, Sima Luyun said. But if there's danger, wouldn't it be too slow for us to come out? In the end, he was worried about their safety. Don't worry. This little realm opens quickly. If something happens, it's not a problem for you guys to come out, Sima Yue said. Then we can only do this now. Everyone went into the little realm. Only Yue, Little Tong and Diwu were left. Sima Yue kept the little realm and said, "It's just the three of us now. Let's go. There's no danger along the way. We just need to spend some time and energy," Little Tong said. With his words, Sima Yue and Diwu walked forward boldly. Just like what Little Tong said, they didn't encounter any danger along the way. It was just that they couldn't fly and could only walk. With the influence of gravity, it was a tough journey. On the way, they saw many skeletons. There were humans and spirit beasts. There were more spirit beasts than humans. Most of those spirit beasts should have entered here by mistake. They couldn't go back and could only walk forward. After walking here, they couldn't resist the influence of gravity and stayed here forever. This journey was considered treacherous. After walking for 2 months, they finally got out of the gravity zone. They went over a mountain. There was still gravity on this side of the mountain. After going over the mountain and reaching the other side, the gravity disappeared. Little Tong's body was weaker. After walking for a while, Sima Yue put him in the little realm. Only Di Wu and her were left. After walking for so long, we're finally out. Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief. They couldn't fly and couldn't use powerful spirit beasts. They could only rely on their own 2 legs. It was a feeling that she hadn't experienced for many years. Let me bring them out first. Sima Yue just took out the small door and saw rolling black clouds whizzing over from afar. What's that? Diwu shouted. The black clouds flew over quickly. When they got closer, they realized that it wasn't a black cloud. It was a black mass of flying beasts. These flying beasts were different from those in the human realm. Every one of them was extremely ugly and had red eyes. And _s equals point. And IP equals. And _s equals GBK. And D equals tanksithmum _10057964 _13556167 _539684414. And _s equals true. And _s //p/x I equals mm_10057964 _13556167 _539684414. And _h equals 0. And tanks _h _s tanks _h. And _s equals point. And IP equals. And _s equals GBK. And D equals tanksessimum _10057964 _13556167 _5398285. And _s equals true. And _s //p/x I equals mm_10057964 _13556167 _5398285. And _h equals 0. And tanks _h _s tanks _h. And _s equals point. And IP equals. And _s equals GBK. And D equals tanksessimum _10057964 _13556167 _5398286. And _s equals true. And _s //p/x I equals mm_10057964 _13556167 _5398286. And _h equals 0. And tanks _h tanks _h. _s tanks _h. Remember after reading, for next time, or Time Travel Fan, is dedicated to creating what girls love to see and providing the best for girls. Chapter 1302. Diwu saw the approaching birds. He pulled Sima Yue and ran. Do you know what those birds are? Sima Yue asked as she ran. There's a type of bird in Ghost Realm called Underworld Fiend Bird. They look similar to this, but their eyes aren't red. Are underworld fiend birds very powerful? They aren't powerful individually, but there's a lot of them. Look at them, they almost covered the entire sky. Sima Yue turned back. The sky was covered in black. There was no need to think to know how many of them there were. We have to think of a way, Diwu said. If not, we'll be in trouble if they catch up to us. What other way do we have now? Sima Yue took out a small door as she ran. She opened the small realm and ran in with Diwu. Squeak squeak. Those underworld fiend birds were about to catch up to Sima Yue, but they disappeared in vain. They screamed angrily. Sima Yue looked at the dark sky outside because of the angry underworld fiend birds. She patted her chest and said, "Luckily we have a place to hide." "What's outside?" Wu Lingyu saw Sima Yue was still in shock. He went up to hold her hand and asked. "Underworld fiend birds that cover the sky," Sima Yue said. "There's actually underworld fiend birds here?" Wu Lingyu was astonished. "Isn't that only in Ghost Realm? They can actually survive in this place?" "They seem to have mutated. Their eyes are red," Sima Yue said. "Are those underworld fiend birds very powerful?" "They're not powerful individually, but when they gather together, they'll be hard to deal with," Diwu said. "Let's wait here," Sima Yue said. "Let's wait for those underworld fiend birds outside to leave." "Then we'll have to wait," Wu Lingyu said. "These underworld fiend birds are quite intelligent. Since they saw you guys enter the small realm, they'll definitely be guarding outside. Then how long before they give up? Underworld fiend birds are very patient underworld beasts. They won't leave in a short time," Diwu said. "There's nothing we can do about it. We can only wait." "Well, since you can't go out, then just rest inside. It's been tough on you guys," Sima Lufeng said. "You do need a good rest. It's really tiring to walk all the way here." Sima Yue took out a special elixir for Diwu. Along the way, the two of them had to be vigilant to see if there was any danger, so they had used up a lot of their mental strength. Sima Yue went to rest, so the others could not see what was going on outside, so they could only wait patiently. 2 days later, Sima Yue, who was meditating, was awakened by the commotion outside. She called the others over, and with a thought, everyone could see the situation outside. Those underworld fiend birds didn't cover the entire mountain like before. Instead, they seemed to have been startled by something and flew off into the distance. What happened to those underworld fiend birds? Look at the sky, Sima Yue reminded. Dark clouds quickly gathered in the sky, as if someone was about to undergo a lightning tribulation. Someone is undergoing a lightning tribulation here? I heard that those who went to the human realm from the ghost realm would encounter a lightning tribulation after leaving the city. This should be someone from the ghost realm coming out from the city, Diwu guessed. That means this place shouldn't be far from the ghost city, Sima Lufeng said. It's good that someone is undergoing a lightning tribulation. At least those underworld fiend birds were scared away, Third Emo said. That's right. I thought we would have to wait here for 1 or 2 months. I didn't expect them to leave so quickly. Sima Yue was very happy. Those underworld fiend birds were scared away by the lightning tribulation. After the lightning tribulation, they could leave. We can also take a look at the level of the lightning tribulation here, Sima Lufeng continued. This will help us understand the situation here. The lightning tribulation clouds gathered quickly outside. It seemed like the person undergoing the lightning tribulation was in trouble. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to pass it. Could it be that the Almighty from the ghost realm wants to use this path to leave? Diwu saw the power of the lightning tribulation clouds and shivered in fear. If it's an Almighty, would they still use this path? Sima Yue said. People who reached that level would directly tear the space apart. For example, when Wu Lingyu went to the Devil Realm, and when Mou returned to the Ghost Realm. That's true. Such a powerful lightning tribulation. It's either the person undergoing the lightning tribulation has committed a heinous crime, or he's undergoing the lightning tribulation in a group. Sima Xiuqi continued. But no matter what, it's beneficial for our journey later on. That's right. The power of the lightning tribulation would deter the spirit beasts here. They wouldn't dare to act rashly. It would save them a lot of time and energy. Because the distance was too far, they didn't see who was undergoing the lightning tribulation. The lightning tribulation dispersed after striking for half a day. Sima Yue only brought everyone out after confirming that there was no danger outside. According to the direction of the lightning tribulation just now, we should be able to reach the ghost city. Sima Yue looked in that direction and calculated how long it would take to reach the place where the lightning tribulation happened. Diwu's body kept trembling after he came out. Can I go back first? Sima Yue saw him trembling uncontrollably and recalled that he was also from the ghost clan. The remnant power of the lightning tribulation in the air wasn't easy for him to endure. So she opened the door to the little realm and let him in. She planned to let him out after this journey. They sat on the flying beast and flew towards the ghost city. After flying for 2 days, they saw a group of charred corpses on the ground. 10 over ghost clan went through the lightning tribulation together. No wonder the power was so strong. Sima Lufeng continued. Yue, if it was you, could you endure the lightning tribulation that day? Compared to the one in Fair Eastern City, what do you think? Sima Yue asked back. That's true, you even went through such a huge lightning tribulation in Fair Eastern City. This is nothing to you. Sima Lufeng continued. Yue, come tell us, how did you become immune to lightning? I think those lightning-attributed spirit masters can't do what you did. Tell me, I'll learn from you. Who knows, I might be immune to lightning in the future. About this, it's actually very easy. Sima Yue smiled and looked at Sima Lufeng. You'll be struck by lightning tribulation a few more times, the stronger the better. Then you'll get used to it. Sima Lufeng thought about what she said seriously. Then he realized that she was bluffing him. You don't respect the old at all. I'm just telling the truth. Sima Yue looked at him innocently. I was struck a few times, then I don't know why my body had the lightning attribute. Then I realized that I could trigger the lightning tribulation. Then I just let nature take its course. Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying thought she was joking at first. After hearing what she said, they patted her head with heartache and said, I really can't imagine how you've been through all this. Poor child. You don't have to work so hard in the future. Just leave everything to us. Chapter 1303. Sima Yue could feel Huang Yingying's love and guilt for her. She shook her head slightly. Actually, compared to what I've gotten, what I've encountered is really nothing. Many people have suffered more than I have, but they haven't gained as much as I have. She comforted him with a smile. You child. Huang Yingying reached out and hugged her. She was so sensible at such a young age. Yet she was not proud of her achievements. How could they not love such a granddaughter? Sima Lufeng pursed his lips. Auntie was known as the Iron Lady in the family. She had scolded her brothers, sisters-in-law, and so on. Everyone was afraid of her. Now he's actually so kind to you, Yue. How rare. However, when he thought about it, even the patriarch treated her with kindness. This was enough to show how charming she was. Who wouldn't like such a talented and sensible child? I wonder what the ghost city looks like. How is it different from the cities outside? Sima Yue asked. There shouldn't be any difference. If you really want to say something, it's probably just that there are dark spirit masters and ghost clan inside. Third Mo said. I don't know what happened to father back then. His life tablet has always been cracked. Has he been injured all these years? At the mention of Sima Luxian, everyone was silent. The atmosphere was a little gloomy because of worry. Yue, don't worry. Your father will be fine. Little Helper said. Master said that your father will have some influence in the future, so he won't be gone so soon. Yes, thank you. Sima Yue smiled at him. She did not ask what it would affect in the future. If he could tell her, he would not be so vague. Therefore, it was useless for her to ask. Not long after encountering the ghost corpses, they saw a city floating in mid-air. Unlike Ocean of Cloud City, which seemed to be floating in mid-air, Ghost City was really floating in mid-air, and there was nothing to support it from below. Because this was the border between the ghost realm and the human realm, the spiritual power of other attributes in the air was scarce. The closer it was to the ghost city, the thinner it was, to the point where there was almost none. Once they were taken out of Ghost City, they would be completely gone. They flew along the outskirts of the city for a long time, but they still couldn't see the city gate. This ghost city doesn't have a city gate. How are we going to enter? Let's keep looking. They flew for a few more days. Everywhere was the same. The same city walls, the same bricks. There was no difference at all. If they hadn't been walking in the same direction, they would have thought that they were walking back. This ghost city is so big. We've been walking for so many days, and we still haven't seen the end. If Father is really in there, it won't be easy to find him. Sima Yue sighed. It is indeed huge. We have to find an entrance first, Wu Lingyu said. We've been walking for so many days, but there's not even a shadow. It's probably not just because it's too big that we can't find it, but because it's always like this. Very likely, Sima Xiuqi said. I'll try to see if I can go in first. He flew up, but just as he reached the height of the city wall, he was knocked back by a black ripple before he could reach the top. Sima Xiuqi could feel the power contained in the ripple, and used all his strength to defend himself. Only then was he able to prevent himself from being injured. However, he was still forced to retreat. There really is a defensive array? Sima Xiuqi returned to everyone's side with a heavy expression. Even I can't break through it forcefully. This defensive array is quite powerful, he said solemnly. He was already a paragon, but he was knocked back by the power of the ripple. This ghost city's defensive ability was actually so strong. Seems like it's not easy to enter this city gate. Third Mo looked at the city wall with interest. It's impossible to fight it forcefully. We have to think of a way. Do you have an idea? He looked at Wu Lingyu. This holy son of the Sage Pavilion should have some experience. As expected, Wu Lingyu nodded. I've heard of some theories, but I'm not sure. What idea do you have? Sima Lufeng asked. Wu Lingyu looked at Di Wu. Go and try. Me? I'm not that powerful. Di Wu quickly shook his head. Go and try. You won't get hurt, Wu Lingyu said. All right then. Di Wu took a deep breath and flew towards the city gate. Bang! As Di Wu wasn't that powerful and believed Wu Lingyu, he didn't protect himself and was sent flying by the power of the attack. Wu Lingyu waved his hand and a power caught him and brought him back. Hiss, so painful. Didn't you say there wouldn't be a problem? Di Wu rubbed his injured hand and glared at him unhappily. You believed it too, Wu Lingyu said faintly. Di Wu was speechless. He felt like he was fooled by him. Don't be angry. Your injury isn't without meaning, Wu Lingyu said. What did you think of? Sima Yue asked. Didn't you notice that the backlash against the Ghost Clan is smaller? Wu Lingyu asked back. Seems like it. Sima Yue thought about it. Both of them didn't take the initiative to attack, but the power of the defensive array was different. Seems like there's a difference. Is there a difference with power? Sima Lufeng asked. You can try, Third Mo said. Third Mo was just teasing him. He didn't expect Sima Lufeng to reply and fly over. Bang! Sima Lufeng wasn't seriously injured because he was prepared. But it could be seen that his attack was much more powerful than Di Wu's, and his power was on par with Di Wu's. As expected, the human clan will be attacked more than the ghost clan. Why is that? Little Helper asked. It's probably because the person who set this up hated the human clan even more. Sima Yue guessed. Seems like you and Di will have to complete it again, Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue understood what he meant. She brought the others into the little realm, leaving only Di Wu and her. How do the two of us go in? Di Wu asked. Sima Yue kept her spirit energy and released the dark aura in her body. Then she called Little Roar out to merge with her. After doing that, her aura changed completely. Di Wu sniffed the aura on her body and was moved to tears. Wu, it's this smell. It's the smell of the princess. Di Wu danced around her. I've smelled it before, but it's been a long time since I smelled it. Sima Yue saw his excited look and smiled. All right, let's go in. How do we go in? Di Wu just asked when Sima Yue held his hand and flew towards the city wall. They didn't care about being hurt by the defensive array. Chapter 1304. You don't know? Then how do we get to the ghost city? Sima Lufeng asked. Xiao Tong looked at Di Wu and said, He will lead the way from now on. Xiao Tong looked at Di Wu and said, He will lead the way from now on. Me. Di Wu pointed at his own nose in surprise. I don't know where the ghost city is. Everyone was speechless. So no one knew where the ghost city was? They had always thought that Xiao Tong knew. And Xiao Tong thought that Di Wu knew. In the end, no one knew. Both of you don't know how to get to the ghost city? Sima Yue asked. Master said that he knows, Xiao Tong said. I have never been there. I have only heard of it. Di Wu said innocently. Your master knows that it is here. Did he not mention the specific place? Xiao Tong shook his head. Yinlin did not mention it. Then what do we do now? Everyone looked at each other. They did not know what to do. Xiao Tong, why did your master say that Di Wu would know? Sima Yue asked. Didn't he say that Di Wu would know? Did he say why? Xiao Tong said. Didn't Di Wu say that he had heard of it before? Perhaps it is the place that you have heard of, Wu Lingyu said. Then let me think. Di Wu said. I have heard of it a long time ago. I have heard of a saying before. When the sun sets in the western hills, humans and ghosts connect. Could it be related to this? Sima Xioqi said. Western hills? Right. The legendary ghost city seems to be in the western hills. Di Wu shouted. This western hills refers to the western hills of the human realm. It shouldn't be related to the ghost realm, right? No, the ghost realm also has a mountain called the Western Hills. Di Wu said with certainty. But there isn't a mountain called the Western Hills here, Sima Luyan said. We once came here to look for it. At that time, we thought that he might have come here, but we couldn't find him. At that time, we knew that there isn't a Western Hills here. Whether there is or not, we just need to find a spirit beast and ask. After Sima Xioqi finished speaking, he forcefully sucked downwards. A spirit beast hiding in the swamp was sucked out. Spare me! Spare me! That little loach twisted its body in the air and cried out loudly. Don't shout. We don't want your life. Sima Xioqi said. Let me ask you, is there a place called the Western Hills in the southern desolate swamp? When that little loach heard that he didn't want his life, he immediately calmed down. When he heard that it was Sima Xioqi, he thought for a moment and said, No, there isn't a place called the Western Hills in the southern desolate swamp. There really isn't. There isn't, the little loach said with certainty. Could it be that you know that there isn't one near you? The spirit beasts here move around quite frequently. If there was one, then we would definitely know about it. There definitely isn't a place called the Western Hills, the little loach said. Sima Xioqi saw that he was quite honest, so he let him go. He also caught a few spirit beasts to ask, but the results were the same. It seems like there really isn't a Western Hills. Di Wu said. Sima Yue looked at the mountains in the distance. Right now it was sunset. The sun was sandwiched between two mountains and was slowly sinking. The sun is setting in the Western Hills. Could it be that the Western Hills isn't the name of a mountain range, but a mountain range in the west? A mountain range in the west? Huang Yingying followed Sima Yue's gaze and saw the setting sun. That's not possible, right? Sima Lufeng said. The mountain we are looking at now is in the west. What if we are not standing in this position? If we are standing on the west side of this mountain, then this mountain is in the east side of us. What he said made sense. However, Sima Yue didn't think so. The more she looked at the mountains, the more she felt that they were similar. Anyway, we don't have any other way. Why don't we try there? Wu Lingyu suggested. That's true. Don't go there. The little loach from before suddenly popped its head out of the mud. That place is very strange. Spirit beasts often go missing there. It's very dangerous. Oh, the little loach's words immediately attracted everyone's attention. There doesn't seem to be anything special about those two mountains, right? Why are they so dangerous? I know. Anyway, at this time of the day, that place is especially dangerous. That's why we won't go there at this time, the little loach said. Not at other times? No. Usually it's 2 hours before and after sunset. During that time, you will be very scary. The spirit beasts that go there will disappear after walking for a while. The little loach said. We understand. Thank you, little loach. This is a thank you gift. Sima Yue took out an elixir and threw it to the little loach. The little loach did not know what this elixir was, but it smelled very comfortable. It was definitely something good. Therefore, it wrapped the elixir and sank back into the ground. According to what it said, it should be that place, Sima Luyan said. I really didn't expect that the border between humans and ghosts would be in such an inconspicuous place. Let's go over. They flew towards those mountains. They did not expect that although they looked close, they were actually quite far away. By the time they reached there, the sun had already set. They had no choice but to wait until the next day. On this day, they circled around the mountains. In the end, they did not see a single spirit beast. This proved that this place was unusual. On the second day, when the sun was about to set, they left the range of the mountain range and slowly flew towards the middle of two mountains. Just as they passed through the middle of the two mountains, the scene in front of them changed. Previously, it looked like a swamp, but now it was a patch of gray. There was no setting sun, and there were no emerald green plants. They looked behind them. Although they could see the two mountains from before, they did not feel like they were in the same space. Did we enter this place? It should be. It's a patch of gray everywhere here. Where could the ghost city be? I know this, Diwu said. Didn't you say that you didn't know? I didn't know how people from the human world came to this place. When I arrived here, I knew, Diwu explained. Then how do we go? It is said that there is only one direction at the border between humans and ghosts. No matter where we go, we will reach the ghost city, Diwu said. The direction we go is to enter the ghost city, and when we exit the ghost city, we will go to another world. So magical. This was the first time Sima Yue had heard of it, and she found it unbelievable. It seemed like there were 4 directions, but there was only one direction. This was a little strange. But in a special place like this, it wasn't unacceptable. So no matter where we go, we will reach the ghost city. Then why do you say that you know the way? Sima Lufeng rolled his eyes. That counts as knowing, Diwu retorted. If not for him, they would not know. Then, let's just randomly choose a direction to go. Sima Yue bit her lips. Did her father go through the same way? Reading background color default settings: classic light blue, classic light gray, classic green, classic bright yellow, deep blue, ocean autumn, exuberant green, light elegant red, pink, family red, talk thick, sea wide, sky wide, heartbroken, past, snow white, heaven, and earth gray. World font color default settings: white, red, green, blue, brown. Font size default settings: small, medium, large. Speed 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0. Mouse scroll description: 1 to 10. 1 is the slowest, 10 is the fastest. Chapter 1305. Who is it? Not only the young man on the ground, Zhang Shua and his subordinates also noticed Sima Yue. At first, they thought it was someone from the city who had come to watch the show. But when they looked up, they realized that it was someone they had never seen before. Who are you? Zhang Shua waved his hand, and his men immediately surrounded the two of them. We're just passers-by, Sima Yue said. However, the other party clearly didn't believe him. How could a passerby pass by here? Then who do you think we are? Sima Yue asked. I don't care who you are. Zhang Shua sneered. I don't care who you are. Since you dared to find out about us, then you can go with him. I don't think it's because we saw you killing people. It's because we're in your so-called forbidden area, Sima Yue said. Although you said that you're not afraid of being discovered, your father doesn't seem to be as powerful as you said. He can't guarantee your safety. That's why the killing intent in your eyes is so strong. Am I right? Zhang Shua stared coldly at Sima Yue. They had only exchanged a few words, but she had already guessed his thoughts. What a terrifying woman. Yue was right. Zhang Shua was afraid that she would spread the news of him coming to the forbidden area. If no one saw it with their own eyes and it was just a rumor, his father could remove him from the list. However, if someone saw it, it would be different. That old witch would definitely kill him. Therefore, these two people could not be allowed to live. However, when he saw how beautiful Sima Yue was, he changed his mind. If he could bring her back, He could curry favor with the few beauties in the family. As long as she didn't go out, who would know that they were here? Young mistress, this person's gaze has changed. His killing intent is gone, but he has become a little lecherous, Diwu whispered to Sima Yue. Zhang Shuo did not expect the two of them to be so sensitive. He had only changed his mind, and they had already sensed it. He sneered and said, I'll give you a chance now. If you follow us back obediently, I'll spare your lives. Miss, he wants you to follow him back and eat you, Diwu said. No, that's not what his expression meant. I think he wants to snatch you back and feed you to someone else. Of course, eating wasn't the same as eating. But did this guy have to be so straightforward? The other party had become angry out of humiliation because of him. Zhang Shuo was indeed a little angry, but not to the point of flying into a rage out of humiliation. He was just unhappy that his thoughts had been guessed correctly. Kill that ghost clan member for me. Bring the woman back for me and give her to those lecherous elders in the clan. They will definitely not have any complaints about me. That's really what I think. Miss, we're in danger. Diwu pulled her sleeve and screamed. Sima Yue was speechless. How could her cousin and the ghost master tolerate such a cheerful personality? She thought that the people around her cousin were all mature and steady like Di Lu. She took a glance at these guards. There were ghost and dark spirit masters, which meant that they had a higher status. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to have guards with two different statuses in such a city. She was thinking about how to deal with the other party's people. She had just arrived and she had already killed someone with a relatively high status. Would it cause any inconvenience to her operation this time? But if she let him go just like that, firstly, she was unwilling to do so. Secondly, what if he found out that she was in some forbidden area and spread the news about her? Should she kill him or not? She had yet to make a decision, but the other party had already made the decision for her. A portion of them attacked Diwu with deadly moves. Diwu subconsciously wanted to use his spiritual power to counterattack, but he realized that he couldn't use his spiritual power at all. No wonder those people chose to use punches and kicks to beat him up. There was no other way. Oh my god. It hurts. Although Diwu was a spirit beast with thick skin, the other party seemed to be spirit beasts too. Therefore, he didn't have any advantage in terms of physical strength. As the other party had more people, he was beaten up until he screamed in pain. However, although he was shouting loudly, he did not slack off in his martial arts. He punched this guard and kicked that guard. His strength was not light either. Unfortunately, two fists couldn't fight against four hands. The other party had too many people, and he was still beaten up badly. Sima Yue saw how badly he was beaten up, and looked at the people who came to bully her. She clenched her fists and muttered, It's been a long time since I used pure strength to fight. I wonder if my body has rusted. After saying that, she punched the face of the person who came to grab her, and sent him flying. Bang! That person flew more than 10 meters away and landed heavily on the ground. The loud sound attracted the attention of the others. Was this the strength that a weak woman should have? They looked at that person's collapsed face in disbelief, and then looked at Sima Yue, who didn't change her expression. They were dumbstruck. That person was a spirit beast. How could a human be compared to the strength of his body? But what did they see? A human had sent a shape-shifting beast flying with a single punch, and even caused half of its face to collapse. Sima Yue didn't care about their surprised looks. She flashed and came to Diwu's side and kicked those people who were beating him away. Diwu was still being beaten up, and didn't expect the people around him to suddenly disappear. He looked at Sima Yue with a face of admiration after the shock. Miss was so powerful. How is this possible? Zhang Shuo shouted. How can a human defeat a spirit beast? She even defeated one with one punch. This was too incredible. He only felt a figure swaying in front of him, and then all of his men fell down. By the time he reacted, only the two of them were left standing. Seeing the murderous intent in Sima Yue's eyes, he was terrified. He hated himself for following that bitch to the restricted area. He couldn't use his spiritual power here, and he didn't have any power to fight back against Sima Yue. Don't kill me. He retreated, his eyes were filled with fear and his body kept trembling. Didn't you say you wanted to kill and capture? How about I let you have a taste of it? Sima Yue approached him slowly. She didn't take action immediately and kept pressuring him. Zhang Shuo looked at her clasped hands and swallowed his saliva in fear. If you let me go, I won't pursue this matter and treat it as if nothing happened today. PFFF. The knife pierced into his body and Zhang Shuo suddenly widened his eyes. Until his death, he didn't think that he would really lose his life. This book came from Chapter 1306. Sima Yue stood rooted to the ground as she watched the corpse fall to the ground, and the young man panting heavily behind it. The youth's hands were stained with blood, and his eyes were bloodshot. His facial features were swollen beyond recognition. He looked at the corpse in front of him with eyes full of hatred. Sima Yue saw the young man crawl up from the ground to approach Zhang Shuo, but after a second of hesitation, she did not stop him. Young master has been killed. The guards looked at the fallen Zhang Shuo and cried out in horror. Capture them. Otherwise, we'll die if we go back. If they failed to protect their master, they wouldn't be able to survive even if the murderer was caught. However, their strong will to survive gave them a little hope. Hua, I'll give them to you. Sima Yue waved her hand, and Hua appeared in front of everyone. Yu, I didn't expect you to give me so much delicious food as soon as I arrived. Hua was very happy to see so many people to eat. A few vines flew out from her sleeves and quickly divided into several branches in the air. On each branch, a flower as tall as a person bloomed, flirtatious and charming. When the man-eating flower king came out, everyone was scared silly. If they were to face a normal person, they would still have a shred of fighting power. But now, against the man-eating flower king, they had no hope at all. How can there be a man-eating flower king? You're not from Ghost City. If you're right, there's a reward. The reward is to eat all of you, ha ha ha. Hua laughed. Those who could walk turned around and ran. At the same time, they were filled with regret. Why did they come to this place? Now there was really no one to respond to his cries. One after another, people were caught by the Hua. Soon, there was no one left in the alley except for the huge flowers. This is... The young man was stunned. He thought that he would definitely die after killing Zhang Shuo today. He didn't expect that the situation would take a 180-degree turn in just a few minutes. Sima Yue looked at the teenager and asked, "What's your name?" The young man came back to his senses and glanced at her. Without saying a word, he turned around and left. At the very least, I saved your life just now. Is this how you repay me? Sima Yue shouted at his back. This is not a place where you should be. Hurry up and leave before anyone notices. Also, if you kill Zhang Shuo and his family finds out, it would be better for you to leave this city as soon as possible. The young man paused for a moment before dragging his battered body and continuing to walk forward. Miss, are we letting her go just like that? Diwu covered his bruised and swollen face and asked. Sima Yue smiled but did not say anything. Looking at his back, she tapped her fingers 3 times. 1, 2, 3, bang. The young man couldn't hold on any longer and fainted. Sima Yue walked over and shook her head. Diwu, take him away. With him? Diwu walked over. Young miss, this person offended a big shot. If we bring him along, we will definitely attract trouble. Why don't I just leave him here and feed him another pill? He won't die for sure. Sima Yue stared at Diwu, and the latter felt goosebumps from her stare. Diwu. She looked at him seriously. Young Mississippi, are you really a hellhound? Sima Yue came over and pulled him around in circles. She looked at him carefully and was very confused. Diwu quickly clarified her suspicions and nodded his head like a chick pecking rice. That's right, I'm the hellhound, I'm the real deal. Sima Yue stood up straight and said, but I feel that you don't look like a hellhound at all. In my impression, this hellhound should only work and not talk. But why do I feel that you don't work and only talk? Diwu was speechless. Young Miss had said so much, and this was the main point. How was he not like a hellhound? He didn't look like one, he was one. Being stared at by Sima Yue, he could only carry the young man and use his 10,000-year-old dog nose to avoid everyone. bringing him out of the restricted area safely. Actually, they didn't know why that place became a restricted area. But when they saw the bustling streets, they knew that they were out. Zhang Shua chased the young man all the way into the restricted area, and was caught by him not long later, so they were not far from the exit. Sima Yue asked Di Wu to carry the young man and follow behind her. Then they looked for an inn along the streets. But after looking around, they didn't find any inn. That's strange. Why aren't there any inns here? Di Wu complained. He was already very eye-catching when he carried a person on the streets. With Sima Yue's stunning appearance, the number of people who turned their heads along the way was simply too high. There aren't any inns in Ghost City. The young man on his back woke up and struggled to get down from his back. However, his body didn't have much strength, so he left it at that. Sima Yue turned around to look at him and asked, "You said there aren't any inns here?" "Yes, even if you walk around the entire Gue City, you won't find any inns," the young man said. "Why? Very few outsiders come to Ghost City. Those who come will choose to join a powerhouse so that they will have a place to stay. Those who pass by occasionally are too few, who would open an inn here." "If that's the case, then we'll stay at your house," Sima Yue said bluntly. The young man remained silent for a while and said, "Put me down." Sima Yue gave Di Wu a glance and Di Wu immediately put the young man down. The young man looked at the people on the streets and said to the two of them, "Follow me." He went into a small alley at the side. Sima Yue and Di Wu quickly followed. The young man didn't bring them along the main road, but turned here and there in the small alleys. Finally, they arrived at a dilapidated house and pushed open the courtyard door to enter. Sima Yue looked at the house. There were a few small latrines and the house was leaning left and right. The fence around the house had also decayed. When she passed by, she wondered if it would fall off if she used too much strength. The courtyard wasn't very clean either. Wood was scattered everywhere, and the jagged edges made it obvious that the wood wasn't broken normally. It was probably broken by those people who usually bullied his house and beat him up. However, she didn't know who was the one who was beaten up. When they came to the room, it was still considered clean. The main reason was that there was nothing in the room. There wasn't even a basic table or chair. There was only a praying mat on the floor. "I don't have anything here, help yourselves." The young man finished speaking and sat down on the praying mat to check his injuries. He seemed to be very familiar with this place. It seemed like getting injured was a common occurrence. "What's your name?" Sima Yue asked. This time, the young man didn't resist. After a moment of silence, he said, "Mu Si." Sima Yue didn't say anything, but the child in the little realm suddenly called out. This book came from Chapter 1307. Sima Yue was shocked by Xiao Tong's reaction. She asked him telepathically, "What's wrong with Mu Si? Why do you have such a big reaction?" "Sister Yue, Master said that Mu Si is related to you finding your father. He asked me to come here to help you find Mu Si," Xiao Tong explained, then said in disappointment, "I didn't expect to find this person the moment we came. Then I'm useless." Sima Yue didn't expect Mu Si to be related to her purpose of coming here. She sized him up. A young man who was bullied. She even offended a big force because she met them. Could he help her save her father? Mu Si knew she was sizing him up. His expression didn't change. He even paused his action of checking his injuries. "You don't have to check. The pills I gave you are the best. Your injuries are mostly healed. You just need some time to recover," Sima Yue said. Mu Si checked his injuries. It was as she said. His injuries were much better. In the past, he would need half a month to recover. He didn't expect to recover in half a day. Sima Yue walked over and squatted beside him. She stretched out a hand and poked at the swollen area, saying, "In any case, I saved you and gave you a good pill. You didn't even say a word of thanks?" Mu Si remained silent. Just when Sima Yue and Di Wu thought he wouldn't speak, he opened his mouth, but it was still very simple. "I gave you a place to stay." That meant that he was thanking her. How simple. There weren't any chairs here. Sima Yue took out a praying mat and placed it beside Mu Si. She sat down with him. Mu Si raised his head. His eyes were filled with vigilance. Other than his father, no one had ever been so close to him. Don't worry, I'm not interested in your life. Sima Yue said. If I really wanted to do anything to you, would you still be alive? Musi understood that, but he was already repulsed by humans, so he wouldn't let his guard down just because of her words. But his gaze wasn't that cold anymore. Who are those people today? Why would he bully you? Sima Yue asked. Speaking of those people, Musi's eyes flashed with intense hatred. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Even though Zhang Shuo had been killed by him, the hatred in his heart could not be erased. Was it because the hatred was too deep? Or was it because there was someone else? However, Musi didn't seem to want to say more. He closed his eyes and leaned against the wall, ignoring her. What an arrogant child. Sima Yue also insisted on it. She said to Di Wu, "Go out and take a look at the situation here." "All right." Di Wu nodded and was about to leave. "It's best if you don't go out now," Musi said. "Why?" Di Wu was puzzled. He was from the ghost race. It should be fine for him to go out, right? Zhang Shuo is dead. It must be chaotic outside. If a new face is discovered at this time, he will definitely be captured. Musi said. Does that Zhang Shuo have a very high status? That old demonic woman didn't care about Ghost City for the past few years. The one in power now is the Zhang family. Zhang Shuo has an important status among the descendants of the Zhang family. Now that he's dead, they won't just let it go. Musi said. Since you know that Zhang Shuo has a high status, why did you kill him? Sima Yue asked. I always wanted to kill him, but I didn't have the chance. Musi said hatefully. He often let people beat you up like that? Musi clenched his fists, agreeing with her words silently. Seems like it. Sima Yue said. Those fellows in the courtyard were all beaten up by you? Still silence. The yard was filled with broken limbs. Judging by the looks of it, they were all tables and stools from his house. They had been smashed by those people. Sima Yue felt heartache for this stubborn little fellow. She asked, why did they beat you up? They couldn't beat my father. They were taught a lesson by my father in the past. Now they shifted their attention to me. Musi said. Sima Yue noticed that when he talked about his father, his eyes were filled with worship, but there was a faint sadness between his brows. Your father is very powerful. My father is the most powerful person in Ghost City. Musi said. If he didn't go missing, they wouldn't dare to challenge his dignity. How long has your father been missing? 7 years. Musi said. Ever since I was 8 years old, he never came back. They started bullying you after your father went missing? 2 years later. When my father went missing, they were worried that he would come back, so they didn't dare to cause trouble. Musi said. 2 years later, my father still didn't come back, so they started to cause trouble for me. But because there was no news about my father, they didn't dare to take my life. But recently, the news about my father's death spread more and more. Those people really thought that my father was dead. So they were ruthless to me. My father will definitely come back. No wonder there were those things in the courtyard. They probably didn't dare to kill him, so most of the time, they just punched and kicked and used things to smash him. How old were you then? When my father went missing, I was 8. He went missing when he was 8. He started being bullied when he was 10. He was bullied for 5 years. No wonder the hatred in his eyes was so strong. If it was her, she would have killed him long ago. Other than him, there are other people who bullied you? There are many ignorant and incompetent people in the city. There are also many people who take advantage of the situation. Those who used to bootlick might change their faces in the next second. Musi replied. So there were many people who bullied him. You and Zhang Shuo have a grudge. Why did you dare to bring us back? Aren't you afraid that they will find this place? Sima Yue asked. They won't think of coming here. Musi said. Although they know that I was bullied by them, they don't think that I have the ability to kill them. When I was on the streets, many people saw that I was beaten half to death. I don't have the ability to kill someone under the protection of so many guards. Sima Yue thought about what he said and felt that it was reasonable. Under normal circumstances, those people would find people who were more powerful than them. People like Musi who were oppressed and had no ability would naturally be the first to be eliminated. She didn't expect him to be so smart despite his young age. Musi, Musi. An anxious voice came from outside the courtyard. Musi, who was always cold, immediately stood up and rushed outside. Uncle Yangzi, I'm at home. You're at home? That's great. I heard that someone killed Zhang Shua. Are you okay? I'm fine. Musi, Zhang family is searching for people outside. Stay at home and don't go out, okay? The man who entered the door was stunned when he saw Sima Yue and Di Wu sitting on the ground. He then pulled Musi behind him and looked at them defensively. Chapter 1308. Who are you? Why are they in Musi's house? He formed a seal with one hand. If Musi said that they were bad people, he would immediately attack them. Please search to see the most complete, the fastest to update. We are Musi's saviors. Sima Yue said. Savior. Yangzi turned his head to look at Musi. Seeing him nod, he lowered his guard and cupped his fists towards the two of them. He said gratefully, I've offended you earlier. Please forgive me. Sima Yue nodded slightly in response. Musi, were you injured by those people again? Yangzi asked. Musi nodded. Yangzi didn't care about her attitude. He turned around and asked Musi. I heard that you were caught by Zhang Shua again today. They even saw him chasing after you, but not long after, they found him dead. Musi, tell uncle the truth. Is his death related to you? Musi wanted to say that he killed someone, but Sima Yue spoke first. Musi's strength is so weak. That Zhang Shua brought 12 to 20 men. Do you think he can kill them? Sima Yue said faintly. Musi looked at her in surprise. He didn't expect her to say that, but he still followed her meaning and said, there are many of them. He didn't directly say that he wasn't the one who killed them, but he didn't deny it either. Yangzi followed Sima Yue's train of thought, and felt that it was indeed impossible for Musi to be the one who said it. Hence, he shifted his attention to them and asked, you know so clearly that you were the ones who saved him from Zhang Shua. Were you the one who killed them? Sima Yue shrugged. We did kill a few guards, but Zhang Shua was not killed by us. Really? Ask Musi if you don't believe me. Uncle Yangzi, Zhang Shua was indeed not killed by them. Musi said. Yangzi stared at Musi. After confirming that he was telling the truth, he patted his shoulder and said, Uncle is also worried about you. This Zhang family is too powerful. If you killed Zhang Shua and they found out, it would be troublesome. Yes, I know. Musi nodded. But Zhang Shua was not killed by them. I killed him. He added in his mind. Well, it's good that you have nothing to do with this. Yangzi seemed to heave a sigh of relief. If you were captured by them, that matter might be leaked out. At that time, it would be even more impossible to find your father. Did you find it? Musi shook his head and said, Uncle Yangzi, I really didn't find it. Either this thing never existed, or father took it away. You should look for it again. Your father must have left a copy at home when he left. Just in case something happens, we can look for him, Yangzi said confidently. But father has never told me about this. Moreover, Moose looked around and said, the house is clear at a glance now. If there was anything, we would have discovered it long ago. Maybe you missed something, Yangzi said. This is the key to finding your father. If we can't find that place, we won't be able to find your father. Do you understand? I know. Musi lowered his head in disappointment. If he couldn't find that thing, he wouldn't be able to find his father. But he searched the entire house and didn't find any trace of that thing. One could imagine how he felt. Yangzi saw that he was in low spirits and said, you should look for it again. Don't go out on the streets during this period of time, in case Zhang family takes their anger out on you. I understand. These are for your expenses during this period of time. Your father is a great hero. Don't fall behind in your cultivation. Yangzi handed him a bag. Musi took the bag and looked at him gratefully. I will work hard. Thank you, Uncle Yangzi. Oh right, although they are your saviors, we don't know their identities. To avoid trouble, be careful. I will, Uncle Yangzi. Okay, I'll go back first. I'll inform you if there's any news. Yangzi turned around and left. Musi went to send him off and returned quickly. He sat on the praying mat and opened the bag to look at the things inside. Sima Yue glanced at it. There were only a few low-grade dark spirit stones and 2 middle-grade ones. Sima Yue supported her chin with her right hand and looked at him. What kind of person is that Uncle Yangzi of yours? Musi kept the spirit stones. He knew that Sima Yue wasn't an ordinary person. She wouldn't care about his spirit stones, so he wasn't worried. Uncle Yangzi is my father's good friend. He has been taking care of me and helping me all these years. Otherwise, I wouldn't be alive now. You trust him a lot. Yes. Then you lied to him just now. Sima Yue said. If you trust him, why didn't you tell him the truth in the end? Musi lowered his head and held the bag in his hand. He didn't say anything. What should he say? Although he had only known her for half a day, he had an inexplicable trust in her. Sima Yue sighed and said, You child, you only answer once every 3 questions. Talking to you is so tiring. Who are you? Musi suddenly raised his head and looked at her with tears in his eyes. You always ask me questions but never tell me who you are. Why was a stranger so concerned about him? Although he was still young, his experience all these years made him have a sharp intuition towards people. He could tell who was sincere and who was fake. Sima Yue didn't expect the stubborn him to be like this. She was stunned for a moment before she smiled and said, My name is Sima Yue. Just like you, I'm also looking for my father. Your father is also missing? Yes. Sima Yue changed her position. She hugged her knees with both hands and placed her head on her knees, saying, Actually, we are in the same boat. You couldn't find your father until you were 8 years old. I was sent to another place when I was born. I have never seen my father before and I don't know what he looks like. I don't know if he misses me like I miss him. I only know that he isn't living well now. I have to find him quickly. Your father is in Ghost City? Musi asked. Yes. I came here to look for my father. Sima Yue took out Sima Lu Xian's life jade after she finished speaking. The top-quality jade was full of cracks. It could be seen what the owner looked like now. Perhaps it was because they were in the same boat, the two of them became closer to each other. Sima Yue sighed and said, Do you know that your Uncle Yangzi's feelings towards you are not that simple? Musi held the bag in his hand tightly again and whispered, I know. He didn't take care of me in front of my father. It was because of other reasons. But I saw you running out excitedly when you heard his voice. Don't you care? Sima Yue asked. He could feel it outside. Sima Yue was a little surprised. Could it be that he was deliberately acting so intimate? This book came from Chapter 1309. You already knew that he wasn't sincere to you, Sima Yue said confidently. After my father went missing, everyone bullied me, and I had no source of income. Uncle Yangzi is the only one who has approached me. Musi said, I don't have any power. I don't know what I can do. If it wasn't for Uncle Yangzi, I might have starved to death. When did you realize that he wasn't sincere to you? Sima Yue took out a few dark attribute spirit fruits, and threw one to Diwu while stuffing one to Musi. Musi took the spirit fruit, but didn't eat it. He looked at the water droplets on the spirit fruit and said, 2 years ago, he asked me if there was a treasure map left behind by my father at home. Treasure map? This was indeed a reason to treat him well. Yes. He said that his father had gone out to search for treasure. He must have left a copy of the treasure map at home, so that we can find him. He even said that his father had mentioned it before. But I've never seen that thing. Musi said. When I told him, he didn't believe me and told me to look for it. He even yelled at me after I said it a few times. Sima Yue understood that this little guy was sensitive. Although Yangzi had treated him well in the past, his behavior in the past 2 years was too obvious. Naturally, he would be suspicious. If I hadn't interrupted you, would you have told him the truth? It's possible. If the Zhang family knew about this and arrested me, he would at least try to save me. After all, he hasn't gotten it yet. Musi said. Then why did you stop talking when I interrupted you? I don't know either. Sima Yue smiled and did not mention this again. She looked at the spirit fruit in his hand and said, Eat it, this thing is much more useful than the few low-grade crystals he gave you. I'm going out to buy food first, Musi said as his stomach started growling. Sima Yue then remembered that Musi was still at the stage where he needed to eat every day. No wonder he treasured those few low-grade crystals so much. Don't go out either. Since we can't go out now, why don't we find something to do? She got up and walked to the courtyard. Musi followed her out. What are you doing? Musi asked. I'm cooking. Aren't you hungry? Sima Yue waved her hand and took out a set of pots and pans. When Musi saw those things, even the basins were spirit tools. He labeled her as a descendant of a prestigious family in his heart. Seeing her cooking skillfully, he leaned over and said, I didn't expect you to know how to cook. What's so strange about cooking? I thought that a young lady from a big family like you would definitely not do any household chores. Musi spoke the truth. Sima Yue smiled and said, I like to cook. The food outside didn't taste good, so he had to cook it himself. After so many years, I can be considered to have trained my culinary skills. The place where you grew up must be very good to you. Musi said with certainty. Yeah. Thinking of Sima Lai and the others, the smile on her face became even warmer. My grandfather and brothers are very good to me. At that time, we were in a very poor place. My grandfather was a general in that country. I had 4 brothers, all of whom were very talented. They never despised me just because I was fostered. Then you're really lucky, Musi said enviously. Although she didn't have a father, she had a family that loved her dearly. As for him, he had nothing. I'm indeed lucky in this aspect. Sima Yue didn't hide it, but I have my own troubles too. You have troubles? Musi didn't believe her. Of course I do. When I was your age, I didn't know how to cultivate. The whole country called me the #1 trash. Sima Yue said. How is that possible? You're so powerful. Musi had a surprised expression for the first time. What's impossible about that? Sima Yue said. At that time, my body was poisoned and I couldn't cultivate. My family didn't know the reason either. Then how did you cultivate after that? The poison was cured. I remember that I was your age as well. I detoxified, cultivated, and then entered a whole new world. After that, my life slowly changed. Sima Yue said. Come, try the roasted pork I made. Musi hesitated for a moment. He took the roasted pork from her hand and took a bite. His eyes flashed with amazement, but he immediately regained his calmness. Sima Yue knew the level of her skills. Seeing that he was only surprised for a moment, she thought that this little fella had strong self-control. What do you usually eat? She placed the roasted pork on the plate. Diwu automatically took it to the table at the side. The same as what normal people eat. 1 piece of lower-grade crystal can buy a lot. Musi answered. He could eat those foods for a long time, but it wasn't helpful to his cultivation. After he finished the food in his hand, he didn't take the food on the table. Diwu went forward and said, There's a lot on the table. Let's wait for her, Musi said. Sima Yue smiled and said, I take a long time to cook a meal. You can eat first. Otherwise, it won't taste as good when it gets cold. In the past, everyone was more casual. Basically, they would eat after roasting it. Sometimes she would roast it. Sometimes someone else would roast it. Basically, once the meal was done, everyone would eat. Speaking of which, it had been a long time since someone said that they would wait for him. Especially when he was so hungry. Although she said that, he still didn't move. She had to say that he had an excellent upbringing. This made her curious about his father. To be able to raise such a tenacious and self-controlled child, he definitely wasn't an ordinary person. After she finished roasting the pork, she made a roasted duck and stewed a pot of snake soup. After everything was done, the roasted pork was already cold. The taste was slightly worse, but it was still delicious as compared to the others. The 3 of them sat on the table. Sima Yue broke off the roasted duck leg and placed it in Musi's bowl. Missy. Diwu was hit back by Sima Yue when he tried to break off the duck leg. Now that he saw her giving the duck leg to Musi, he called out weakly. Sima Yue broke off the duck neck and stuffed it into his bowl, saying, "Eat." Diwu felt wronged. Why was this little guy eating the duck leg while he could only chew on the duck neck? You'll recover from whatever you eat. This is the most suitable for you. Sima Yue said faintly. Puffed. Musi, who didn't show his emotions, laughed for the first time. Diwu felt even more wronged. Why? You don't want to eat? Sima Yue asked. No, the food that Missy gave me is naturally the best. Diwu saw Sima Yue pulling a long face, so he quickly smiled apologetically. Dilu didn't say that he had eaten Missy's cooking, not to mention that Missy gave him the food personally. He would have something to brag about when he went back. Chapter 13:10. Sima Yue looked at Musi. It was as if she saw herself in the past, at the same age, stubborn and unwilling to admit defeat. Thinking about what he had been through all these years, her heart was filled with pity. This was something she had never felt before. She scooped a bowl of snake soup for him, saying, "Don't just eat meat, try this. This is stewed with 1,000-year black jade snake meat. It's good for your body." Musi used a spoon to take a bite. The taste was indeed not bad. When he ate it, he could feel a gentle energy coming from his stomach. It was very comfortable. How do you have so many good things? It's accumulated slowly, Sima Yue said. The more you experience, the more you accumulate. But you're not much older than me, Musi said. How do you know? Maybe I'm older than you by a few hundred years? Sima Yue laughed. Anyway, spirit masters could maintain their appearance. Even if they were 1,000 years old, they could still make themselves look like they were 20 or 30 years old. Intuition, Musi said. Eat the porridge. You haven't said how old you are. Musi looked at her persistently. 50-something. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, Why are you so surprised? Musi looked at her, that dumbfounded look. It could be said that it was the biggest expression on his face in a long time. You're only 50-something? That's right. Those 100-years-old people in the city are not as good as you. Musi said. Those 50-something-year-old ladies only know how to play. Experience is different. Sima Yue did not think that she was that great. Her achievements were mostly due to external forces, such as meeting Mo Sha, contracting many spirit beasts, and so on. If it weren't for these external conditions, it would be impossible for her to have such high strength. Of course, she was also very hardworking. Her efforts made everyone who had seen or heard of her blush with shame. No matter what, you're very powerful. If you work hard, you'll have a bright future. I don't want to have a bright future now. I just want to find my father. How did your father go missing? Did he go looking for treasure? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Musi was silent for a while before responding. Sima Yue noticed that he did not want to talk about her father, so she shifted her attention to other things and asked about Ghost City. Sima Yue thought that the Ghost City was a place where crooks mixed in with the honest folk. She did not expect that due to the passage of time, some clans and forces had slowly formed here, including the city lord Luo Liansha. It was said that this Luo Liansha was a peerless beauty. Unfortunately, she was too vicious and merciless. She was also very strong. Everyone in the Ghost City was afraid of her. However, it was said that he hadn't been out much recently, so no one knew what he was doing. Since the city lord was no longer in charge, there would naturally be someone else who would take her place. Thus, the 4 stewards under the jurisdiction of the city lord's manor had ascended to the heavens. One of them was the patriarch of Zhang Shua's family. This ghost city was much bigger than the cities that Sima Yue had been to before. It could be seen from the fact that they had not seen a single city gate even after flying for a few days. Although Zhang Shua's talent was not very good, he was nothing compared to his brothers. However, because he was a direct descendant, his status was still very high. She did not expect to kill such an important person the moment she arrived. It was no wonder that the ghost city was in a complete mess. She understood the thoughts of those big families. Although this person wasn't very outstanding in the family, if the family members bullied him, the higher-ups would turn a blind eye. However, once a family member was killed by an outsider, it would be very serious. They must find out the truth, find the murderer, and kill him. Only then would they be satisfied. Because the former was just an internal conflict within the family, while the latter involved the family's reputation. Someone dared to kill the younger generation of the family. Wasn't that slapping their face and challenging their dignity? Therefore, the former could be tolerated, but the latter was absolutely intolerable. Musi also talked about some other forces in the city. However, because it had nothing to do with them for the time being, it was much more vague. Musi, have you heard of a person's name? Oh, Sima Lucian. Your father? Yes. Musi thought for a while and said, if you ask someone else, you might not be able to get anything out of him. However, it's right to ask me. You've heard of him? Sima Yu's eyes lit up. Yes, I once accidentally heard the people in the city mention this name. However, it seems that this name is a taboo in the city. No one can mention it. That time, when I was passing by, I heard two people talking about it. One of them mentioned it, and the other quickly stopped it. However, when I walked back in a while, I saw that the two people were taken away. Musi recalled. Sima Yue was stunned. He couldn't even mention it? What did her father do here? Therefore, don't go out and ask others. If you are heard by the patrol team, you will be taken away immediately. Musi said in a serious tone. Got it. Sima Yue nodded. But do you know what he did here? Where is he now? I don't know. I only heard them mention this name. If they weren't caught at that time, I probably wouldn't even remember this matter. However, looking at those people's reactions, I think your father must have done something big. Unfortunately, I wasn't here at that time, so I didn't know. Musi said apologetically. Well, thank you anyway. Sima Yue smiled at him. At least you confirmed that my father did come here that year. The possibility of him being here is higher. This means that I'm not looking in the wrong direction. But if you want to find your father, it will be very difficult. Musi said. As long as he's here, I will definitely find him. Sima Yue said confidently. Musi saw the smile on her face. He didn't know why, but he nodded as well. He swore in his heart that he would also find his father. Oh right, there's one more thing. Sima Yue saw that he was almost done eating. She changed a plate of cut fruits and passed a fork to him. That forbidden area. You didn't mention when you introduced Ghost City just now. What is that place? That's Ghost City's forbidden area. Ever since I can remember, I've heard the most that we can't go near that place. If we're discovered, not only will it bring about a fatal disaster, it will even lead to the extermination of our clan. Musi said. Oh, it's such a mysterious place. How come there aren't even a few guards? Sima Yue was puzzled. How would she know that it wasn't that there wasn't anyone there? Coincidentally, something happened in the forbidden area. Everyone went there to help. Trespassing into the forbidden area was something that no one dared to do after killing a bunch of people. Who knew that a situation like hers and Musi would happen? Musi, you bitch. Get out here right now. A delicate shout came from outside the door. Following that, a figure wearing a blood-red dress kicked open the crumbling fence. Chapter 13:11. Seeing the person, the rare smile on Musi's face immediately disappeared, and his aura returned to its initial coldness. He stood up and looked at the woman and her follower, and said coldly, Meng Tianshan, what are you doing here? Little slut, did you kill Zhang Shua? Meng Tianshan ran to Musi's side and pushed him with all her might. Meng Tianshan might be a woman, but she cultivated her body, so she had a lot of strength in her hands. With this push, Musi looked like he was going to fall heavily on the ground. Sima Yue, who was at the side, casually pulled him back. She lowered her head to think about something, so Meng Tianshan, who was filled with grief and anger, did not notice her. Now that she saw her face, the jealousy in her eyes almost spat fire. Who are you? You dare to help this little bastard? I'm just from the Lu family in the north of the city. I met Musi today and was chatting here. It doesn't seem good for you to rush in and hit me, right? Sima Yue made up a story. What Lu family or Wang family? If you dare to help this little bastard, I'll take care of you together with him. Meng Tianshan shouted. There were no other families in the north of the city that could make her Meng family afraid. This Lu family was definitely not a big family, so she could kill her, or even disfigure her. Coincidentally, the poison master at home gave her 2 bottles of medicinal powder, so she could test the effect today. Meng Tianshan, what are you doing? Mu Si shouted. Some people you can offend, but some people you can't. If you bring disaster to your family because of this, don't regret being so impulsive today. Meng Tianshan was stunned by Mu Si's scolding, and then she laughed out of anger. Mu Si, who do you think you are? You dare to discipline me? You brat, you're lustful when you see someone who's pretty? You're good, I couldn't tell that you're a romantic, daring to resist because of lust. What nonsense are you talking about? Mu Si blushed and retorted. Get out of here. I really couldn't tell that a little bastard like you would be so brave in front of the person you like. TSK, tell me if I destroy her face, will you still resist me so bravely? Meng Tianshan sneered. Meng Tianshan, how dare you? Mu Si shouted. Why wouldn't I dare? Meng Tianshan said. I'll disfigure her first and let you watch helplessly. You'll feel terrible, right? After you feel uncomfortable, I will kill the 2 of you and let you go find Zhang Shua. He loved to bully you when he was alive. Every time he saw you get beaten up, he would be in a good mood. Now that he's gone, you can go down and accompany him. Poochie. Diwu laughed out loud. He shrugged his shoulders as though he heard a funny joke. Ugly. What are you laughing at? Meng Tianshan shouted. I'm laughing at your stupidity. Diwu touched his face. Although he wasn't as handsome as Master and Wu Lingyu, he wasn't bad-looking. How was he ugly? It seemed that this woman was not only stupid, but also blind. You dare to call me stupid? That's right. You can disfigure people just because you want to? You can kill people just because you want to? Diwu said. Are you treating us as dead people? But we're clearly still alive. That only means you're stupid. Humph, you're still alive now, but you'll be dead in a while. Meng Tianshan said. You guys capture the 3 of them. Yes. Young mistress. The lackeys behind him did those things many times. Capturing people was something they were familiar with. They came behind the 3 of them and prepared to imprison them. See how I'll take care of you. Diwu condensed his spirit power and was about to make a move. Diwu, didn't you hear what Mu Si said? Sima Yue sat on her seat. She wasn't interested in the lackeys that came over. What did Mu Si say? Diwu asked. He said we can't use spirit power, otherwise, we'll attract the patrol team. Sima Yue reminded. Diwu recalled that Mu Si did say that. Normally Meng Tianshan and the rest wouldn't use spirit power when they bullied others. Although they wanted to have fun, they didn't want to implicate the patrol team. Because it was said that the patrol team had extraordinary interrogation methods. Mu Si heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Sima Yue recalled that. At this crucial moment, it was best not to implicate the patrol team. Otherwise, if they were captured, firstly, they had been to the forbidden area, secondly, Sima Yue's identity was suspicious, thirdly, they were still burdened with Zhang Shua's murder case. If they were captured at this moment, they might not be able to come out alive. Those lackeys restrained the 3 of them. Seeing that they were defenseless, they despised them in their hearts. They were useless once they lost their spirit power. Bring that woman to me first. Meng Tianshan pulled a stool to one side. Get her to kneel down and raise her head, it'll be easier for me to do it. She took out a medicine bottle. When she opened the bottle cap, there was some medicine on the cap. She threw it on the ground. It corroded a small hole on the ground. If it could corrode a hole on the ground, wouldn't the effect be obvious if it was dripped on the face? Sima Yue's face darkened, looking at Meng Tianshan's eyes coldly. Meng Tianshan also noticed the small hole and said in surprise, I didn't expect the poison master's concoction to be so effective. Hee, I can't wait to see the effect of this on the face. Get her to kneel down. But no matter how hard those 2 lackeys tried, Sima Yue just stood there motionless. Did the 2 of you not eat? You can't even hold down a human? Meng Tianshan frowned. It's not that they didn't eat, but they don't have the ability. After Sima Yue spoke, she used both hands to press down on the 2 hands on her shoulders. With a forceful fling, The two of them were flung away. Then, before anyone could react, she flashed to Meng Tianshan's side and easily snatched the medicine bottle in her hand. At the same time, a strange fragrance spread in the courtyard. How did you escape from their imprisonment? Meng Tianshan shouted. Do you like to disfigure people? Do you like to kill people? Sima Yue smirked. How about I grant you your wish today? How dare you? Meng Tianshan shouted. Why are you still standing there? Why aren't you coming over and killing her? Judging from Sima Yue's methods just now, her strength was no match for her. Normally, it would be difficult for her to deal with one person with her physical strength, let alone deal with two people easily. Miss, we can't move, someone said. What do you mean you can't move? Meng Tianshan saw the medicine bottle in Sima Yue's hand, and her face turned pale. Can't move, that means I can't move. Sima Yue explained kindly. You know how to use poison, don't you know that you've been poisoned? Chapter 13:12. Meng Tianshan was stunned when she heard what she said. She only knew how to use poison, but she had never been poisoned before, so she did not know what it felt like to be poisoned. When did you poison me? When she realized that she could not move, she screamed at Yue in fear. Sima Yue stepped on the stool with one foot and leaned over to look at her, saying, You don't even know when I poisoned you. It seems like you haven't even learned the basics. It's the fragrance just now, Meng Tianshan said after realizing it. You finally reacted. Sima Yue shook the bottle in her hand. What do you think will happen if I drip this on your face? It will definitely look good. I haven't concocted this kind of poison before. I really want to see the effect. No. Don't disfigure me, Meng Tianshan screamed. Slap. Sima Yue slapped her, interrupting her scream. No. But weren't you planning to disfigure me just now? Why didn't you think of not wanting it at that time? I was wrong. Please spare me. I will ask my father to give you a lot of treasures as an apology, Meng Tianshan said naively. TSK. Only a young lady who is well protected by her family can say such words. Sima Yue sighed. It's a pity that you didn't hide the hatred and murderous intent in your eyes. I'm afraid that if I let you go, you will bring your family members and come back in less than an hour. Meng Tianshan did not expect her to say what she was thinking, and quickly denied. No, as long as you let me go, I will let bygones be bygones. Sima Yue laughed. Why do people like you all think so highly of yourselves? You all think that as long as you don't pursue the matter, this matter will be over? Zhang Shuo and you both said that if I let you go, this matter will be over. Have you asked me if I want to let it go? You really killed Zhang Shuo, Meng Tianshan shouted. No, I only killed his guards. Sima Yue said, the one who really killed him was the little kid that you have been bullying. Meng Tianshan looked at Musi in shock. Although she felt that Zhang Shuo had disappeared when he was chasing after Musi, she did not think that he really had the ability to kill Zhang Shuo. But he didn't expect it to really be him. She had a bad premonition in her heart. Since they had told her this secret, it seemed that they really did not intend to let her go. With a thought, she took out a signal flare and wanted to fire it. This signal flare was developed for this kind of situation. She only needed to control it with her mind and pull off the pull ring, and the flare would rise into the air by itself. Swoosh! Seeing the signal flare flying towards the sky from her hand, a glimmer of hope flashed through her heart. However, before the signal flare exploded, it was stopped by Di Wu. What a pity, the signal flare didn't work. Sima Yue smiled and said, That was close, you almost succeeded. Seems like to be on the safe side. I have to get rid of you guys as soon as possible. Meng Tianshan saw her holding a bottle and swaying it in front of her. She was so scared that her face turned pale. The smell of urine came from below, and her skirt was wet. Sima Yue furrowed her brows in disgust. So disgusting. She retracted her leg and took a step back. She fanned her nose and said, I didn't expect you to pee your pants just like that. You're so disgusting. I think even my Huahua will despise you. Hua Hua, do you want to eat such a person? Following her words, Hua Hua appeared. Seeing the people who peed their pants from fright, she said in disgust, I don't want to eat such a disgusting person. I'd better go and eat the others. After saying that, she transformed into her own flowers. One flower for one person and ate all of them. Meng Tianshan looked at Hua Hua and was so scared that she couldn't say anything. AI, my Hua Hua really despises you. Sima Yue said. Seems like I have to get rid of you myself. No. Don't kill me. Don't ruin my face. Meng Tianshan broke down completely. She cried so hard that it was a mess. What happened to the aura you had when you came in just now? Sima Yue shook her head. You're still thinking about your face at this time. Should I say that you're stupid or naive? No. Meng Tianshan didn't know what to say anymore, and just kept shaking her head. Don't worry, I don't have the habit of disfiguring people like you. Sima Yue said, but Meng Tianshan still couldn't stop crying. Don't cry. If you cry again, I'll destroy you immediately. Meng Tianshan stopped immediately. Because she was in such a hurry, she even burped. Hua Hua had already eaten everyone, and returned to Yue's side. She looked at Meng Tianshan in disgust and said, Yeah, you're so bad. You wanted to kill her, but you had to torture her. How did I torture her? I was just thinking about it. Sima Yue said very honestly, she's a rich young lady after all. I have to think of a dignified way for her to die. That's true. She's ugly to begin with. If her death is too ugly, we'll probably have nightmares. Hua Hua agreed. That's right, so I have to think of a beautiful way to die. Sima Yue said seriously. But yeah, look at her. Is she going to faint from fright? If she faints, it won't be fun. Don't worry, this poison will make them immobile, but it will make their nerves abnormally excited. She won't faint. That's good. Mu Si, who had been standing still, twitched his mouth. These two women were really ruthless. They didn't use any vulgarities when they scolded people. They tortured people's hearts and prevented them from fainting. He thought that Sima Yue was a good person, but it seemed like he thought too much. But what difference did it make whether she was a good person or not? There wasn't a clear boundary between good and bad people. She looked bad now, but from another point of view, she wasn't bad. Another warm stream flowed along the legs of the stool to the ground. Sima Yue and Hua Hua took 2 steps back at the same time. It's too disgusting. I can't watch it anymore. Hua Hua covered her nose and said, Indeed. Sima Yue turned back to look at Mu Si and said, How do we deal with this fellow? Mu Si stared at her hatefully. He thought of how they bullied him all these years and said, I want to deal with her personally. All right, then I'll leave it to you. Sima Yue nodded. Seeing him standing still, she remembered that he was also poisoned. She went over and gave him a pill to detoxify him. Mu Si was freed and walked towards Meng Tianshan. He took out a dagger from his space ring. It was the dagger that was stained with Zhang Shua's heartblood half a day ago. Mu Si, if you dare to kill me, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Meng Tianshan shouted in despair. You'll die in front of me first. After saying that, he raised the dagger in his hand up high and stabbed down with all his might. Stop! Accompanied by a shout, a long sword attacked Mu Si's chest. Chapter 13:13. The sword was extremely fast and arrived in front of Mu Si in the blink of an eye. He did not even have time to react, and could only stare blankly as the sword quickly approached his chest. He could not dodge such a fast and powerful sword, especially when he felt that he was locked by a force and could not move at all. The white blade glowed coldly and dazzled him. In a trance, he smelled the scent of death. Just as he saw the Grim Reaper getting closer and closer to him, a soft hand was placed on his shoulder. A warm power came from the place where they touched, and it pulled him out of the illusion. He regained his senses and saw that Sima Yue was holding his shoulder with her left hand, and the sword with her right hand. The two of them were sent flying by the force of the sword for quite a distance before they stopped. Quang dang! The sword was thrown to the ground and Sima Yue shook her hand in pain. She took out some medicinal powder and applied it on her hand. The bleeding immediately stopped. It's so king painful. She took a deep breath. If it wasn't for the fact that her body had been tempered countless times, making her body comparable to a spiritual weapon, she wouldn't just be bleeding right now. Her entire palm would probably have been cut off. Musi looked at her with a complicated expression. No one knew what he was thinking. Meng Tianshan thought that she was definitely going to die. She did not expect that someone would come to save her at this time. When she saw the person who came in, she said excitedly, "Peng Yuan, save me." "Shan, don't worry. I will definitely save you." The leading man ran to Meng Tianshan's side and wanted to help her up. He did not mind that she had wet her pants just now. It seemed like it was true love. Sima Yue was not interested in this Peng Yuan. Her gaze landed on the old man who came in later. He was the one who had shot the sword just now. She did not know how strong he was. Could Hua and the rest deal with him? The most important thing was that once the fight started, it would attract the patrol team's attention. His goal of secretly gathering information would not be achieved. "Who are you?" The old man looked at Sima Yue and was shocked. Although he did not know Sima Yue's exact age, he could feel that she was not old. At least she was not an old person who had lived for hundreds or thousands of years. At such a young age, he was actually able to receive his attack with his bare hands. Although he did not use his full strength, that was his spiritual weapon. It was not something that an ordinary person could withstand. Moreover, she received it with her bare hands. She was only injured, but her palm was not cut off. "It's none of your business who I am," Sima Yue said. "Seventh Grandpa, it's them. They're the ones who killed Zhang Shuo," Meng Tianshan said while trembling as she nestled in Peng Yuan's embrace. "It was you who killed Zhang Shuo. It seems that no matter who you are, I can't let you go." Peng Qi stared at Sima Yue. He condensed spiritual power in both of his hands. Because of what happened just now, he did not underestimate Sima Yue and decided to give it his all. The moment Sima Yue saw him use his spirit energy, her hanging heart calmed down. If it wasn't above the venerable rank, then there was nothing to worry about. Although Peng Qi did not underestimate Sima Yue, he did not expect her to be so powerful. In a moment of carelessness, the entire room was enveloped in her domain. Sima Yue did not fully expand her domain. She only used its spatial attribute to envelop the entire room. Therefore, the others did not feel it. Only the powerful Peng Qi noticed it. "Domain, how is this possible?" He looked at Sima Yue. She was very young. He could not be wrong about that. However, the aura of the domain was connected to her. But how was this possible? How was it possible for a young person to comprehend a domain? However, he did not want to accept it. The truth was the truth. He had to admit that he was trapped in the domain. He looked at Sima Yue and did not dare to act rashly. He was thinking about how long it would take for him to break through this domain. "Hua, can you handle it alone?" Sima Yue asked. This guy is a half-step venerable rank. If there was no one else, it would be fine. However, with these people, it would be a bit difficult. Hua said honestly. Although her flowers could split into many branches, each branch would take away a little of her strength. She would not be as strong as when she attacked with all her strength. "Then you go and deal with those guys. Little Meng, I'll leave this guy to you," Sima Yue said. "Okay, Yu." Hua split out many branches to deal with those followers. Because Peng Yuan's position in the family was higher, and because Zhang Shua's death had alerted him, the people he brought out were much stronger than Zhang Shua and Meng Tianshan. They wanted to protect themselves. Unfortunately, they were facing Sima Yue and the others. These people were not enough. When Musi heard Sima Yue say another name, he thought that she actually had an even stronger contract beast. This was too powerful. One Hua was enough to surprise him. Now there was another one. How strong was she? When little Meng came out, the cold air emitted from her body made Musi shiver subconsciously. After she came out, she did not speak and directly attacked Peng Qi. Sima Yue looked at little Meng, who had the advantage, and sighed slightly. She used to be such a cute, lively and innocent girl. Ever since she recovered her memories and removed the seal, the aura on her body became colder and colder. If they did not sign the contract at the beginning, it would be a big question mark if they wanted to subdue her now, especially now that she was digesting the dark aura. Every time she digested it, her strength would increase by a bit. The aura on her body would also become colder. Musi saw that Pang Qi was being beaten back by little Meng inside, so powerful. He knew about Pang Qi and his strength. Now that even he could not defeat little Meng, it meant that she was stronger. Because of the extension of the domain space, although it looked like it was in the courtyard, the space of the battle was very wide. The clash of spiritual power made Musi feel the majestic power, but the people outside did not feel it at all. Soon, Huahua and Diwu finished off those people. Seeing that little Meng was about to deal the final blow to Pang Qi, Huahua quickly went up. "Little Meng, he's such a good nourishment, don't kill him," Huahua shouted. Little Meng's killer move struck to the side the moment she attacked. The aura of death and Pang Qi passed through. But before he could heave a sigh of relief, a huge flower descended from the sky and sucked him in. In the end, only Peng Yuan and Meng Tianshan who were scared silly were left. "You can't kill me." Peng Yuan saw Sima Yue looking at him. He was so scared that his body went soft and his hands lost their strength. Meng Tianshan who was in his arms fell to the ground. "This again? Oh, why can't I kill you?" Sima Yue asked indifferently. Chapter 13-14. Title: Chapter Missed Opportunities Will Never Come Again. Author: She was clearly an extremely beautiful lady. She was clearly smiling, but he felt fear towards her from the bottom of his heart. It was as if he was looking at an old witch. He swallowed his saliva and tried to calm himself down, saying, "My position in the family is very high. I have a soul imprint left behind by my ancestors. If you attack me, not only will you be attacked by the imprint, the family will also receive the news immediately. Then you'll be in danger." Sima Yue naturally knew about this type of soul imprint. She had a few of them in her mind. But when she looked at Musi and saw him nodding, she believed what he said. "All right, I'll take it that you're telling the truth." Sima Yue shrugged. She did not say whether she would kill him or let him go. However, he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Since she already believed his words, then he could say that he was already safe. "As long as you let me go, I will definitely not pursue this matter. I will even send you a large sum of compensation." He tried his best to make himself look sincere. "Not only that, I will treat you as my boss from now on. If you tell me to go east, I will definitely not go west. If you tell me to be a cow, I will definitely not be a horse. If you don't believe me, I can swear. As long as I swear, I definitely won't dare to hurt you again." Sima Yue looked at Peng Yuan, whose face was full of sincerity. She had to admit that this guy was smarter than Zhang Shua and Meng Tianshan from before. In the end, the two of them still put on airs as young ladies and young masters, thinking that it would be enough if they let her go. He was too foolish and naive. This Peng Yuan was not so blindly arrogant. When he saw that his men had been killed, he immediately lowered his attitude and knew to apologize and compensate. However, whether or not his heart was sincere remained to be seen. "Since you said that you can make an oath, then you can make an oath first," Sima Yue said. A trace of joy flashed in Peng Yuan's eyes, and he immediately swore an oath. "I, Peng Yuan, swear in the name of the God of Darkness that as long as you let me go today, I will not pursue this matter and look for trouble with her again. When I get back, I'll have someone send a gift to apologize." Peng Yuan felt that his oath was flawless. As long as she let him go, he could leave. As long as he left, then what would happen next? However, Sima Yue's face turned cold after hearing this. She said faintly, "I thought you were a smart person." Peng Yuan was shocked when he heard her words. She hurriedly recalled her oath again, and felt that there was nothing to be angry about. Could it be that she had guessed his thoughts? Sima Yue looked at him and said, "There's nothing wrong with your oath, and you look very sincere. But you shouldn't think that my IQ is as low as the woman in front of you." "I didn't," Peng Yuan denied flatly. "You said that you wouldn't cause trouble for me after you go back. But what you're thinking is that you're referring to yourself. When the time comes, You'll tell everyone about this and your clan will take revenge for you. As long as you don't show up and pretend that you don't know about this matter, you still won't break the oath, right? Peng Yuan wanted to say that he did not think that way. But Sima Yoyue's eyes were so bright that he knew that even if he said that, she would not believe him. I was careless just now. I'll make a new oath. However, Sima Yue shook her head and said, some opportunities are missed. You can't kill me. I have a soul imprint on my body. Killing me won't do you any good. I can make a new oath. I swear that my clan will not cause trouble for you, okay? As long as you don't kill me, Peng Yuan said. His analysis was right. Letting him go was much more useful than killing him. Unfortunately, he did not know that she had many ways to deal with him. She thought that this person was not too bad, so she did not insist on killing him. As long as he knew what was good for him, it was not impossible for her to let him go. Unfortunately, he wasted this opportunity. Don't worry, I won't kill you, Sima Yue said. But I won't let you go either. Hearing that she would not kill him, Peng Yuan heaved a sigh of relief and continued to persuade her. It's not good for you to catch me. If my clan doesn't see me go back, they will definitely send people to investigate. They will follow my scent to find me. At that time, it will be bad for you. If I want to catch you, they will naturally not be able to find you, Sima Yue said. The Peng clan has a secret method. They can use their life plates to calculate their approximate location. Musi said. If those people find us, it will be troublesome. Don't worry, I have my own arrangements, Sima Yue said. Huahua, your flowers can imprison people but not kill them, right? Yes, Huahua said. Then catch him. When I'm done with my business, I'll consider whether to kill him or not, Sima Yue said. I don't want to imprison that woman. She has the smell of urine, Huahua proposed. And if you don't want to, then don't. Sima Yue did not insist. Didn't this woman want to disfigure me and kill me? Kill her. Musi? Just now, Musi was attacked by Peng Qi when he was trying to kill Meng Tianshan. Now she handed her over to him again. Musi's dagger was still in his hand. He walked over and saw that the person was already scared silly. He waved the dagger and slashed it down heavily. Pooh! The entire dagger sank into the flesh. When he pulled it out, blood spurted out. It splattered all over his face and clothes. Peng Yuan's mouth moved when he was about to do it. It seemed like he wanted to stop him, but he gave up in the end. When she smelled so bad, he did not despise her. It could be seen that he had true feelings for her. But this feeling became very ethereal in the face of life and death. Sima Yue did not think that he was cold-blooded because of this. This was just a normal reaction in this continent. There were not many people who were willing to live and die together. Huahua. She called out. A vine flew out from Huahua's sleeve. A flower quickly grew on the vine. It came to Peng Yuan's side and sucked him in. Peng Yuan did not resist. He knew that it was useless to resist. Floey was able to kill all of his guards, which meant that she wasn't someone he could compare to. If he did not resist, he would suffer less. Sima Yue felt that this kid was not bad. A wise man submits to circumstances. He was only one step away from being a wise man. If it was not because of his high position that made him not give up on dealing with her, he would have missed that opportunity. All right, let's go out. Sima Yue kept her domain. The courtyard turned into a small courtyard again. Those people were gone. Only Meng Tianshan's corpse was still lying on the ground. Huahua would not eat it. Sima Yue threw a fire and burned her to ashes. Gentleman's alliance. Chapter 13-15. There will never be any pop-up windows in the online book bar. Sima Yue kept Huahua and Xiaoming back. Their plates were still on the table. A good meal was ruined by them just like that. Diwu lamented. Weren't you full when those people came? Sima Yue asked. He finished all the food she made. Only the fruits were left untouched. Is that safe for you? Musi asked. I heard that Peng Clan's secret technique is very powerful. That's your contracted beast after all. It'll be troublesome if they find it. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Sima Yue said confidently. If it was just the contracted space, perhaps Qixi would be transmitted to her. But Huahua went to Spirit Pagoda, that was a different space. Even if they used the secret technique to track it, they wouldn't be able to find it here. Di Wu and Mu Si were relieved when they saw her confidence. Then she used her spirit technique to erase the aura of those people in the courtyard. It's finally done. She clapped her hands and smiled. Mu Si looked at her and suddenly knelt down in front of her, giving Di Wu and her a shock. Mu Si, what are you doing? Mu Si kowtowed to her twice and said, please save my father. With you around, you'll definitely be able to find my father. Sima Yue looked at him. She didn't expect him to make such a request. She didn't care about him and took out a chair to sit down. I have my own things to do, you know that. I know, that's why I'm not asking you to help me immediately. After you're done with your things, can you help me find my father? Mu Si said. Your father has been missing for so many years without any clues. It's easier said than done to find him. Sima Yue said. Moreover, we just met. Why should I help you? To put it bluntly, what benefits can I get by helping you? As long as you're willing to help me, I'll do anything. Mu Si said. What can I ask you to do? Sima Yue said. After I rescue my father, I will leave this place. I may never come back here again. What can I ask you to do? Mu Si's face flushed red. She was right, he was of no use to her. In this real world, who would help him for free? Even Yangzi had a motive for being nice to him, let alone a person whom he had known for less than a day. However, his intuition told him that after this, he did not know when he would be able to find his father again. If you can find my father, I'm willing to go with you. Although I'm not strong now, I'm still young. One day, I'll become someone useful to you. Sima Yue looked at him, wondering if she should agree. Although they hadn't known each other for long, she still liked and pitied him. They were both alone, but along the way, she had many friends and masters by her side, and he had no one. Speaking of which, he was much more pitiful than her. However, if she agreed, she didn't know what kind of things would happen. Mu Si saw that she was still hesitating and made up his mind. He took out a black jade slip and said, Father went to search for treasure. If you can find him, you can find this treasure. At that time, the treasure will be yours. Sima Yue was slightly stunned when she saw the jade slip. So he had found this thing long ago, but he didn't tell anyone. This brat was quite good at pretending. Aren't you afraid that if you take this thing out, I won't do anything after snatching it? You won't. Mu Si said with certainty. I believe you. Sima Yue looked at him and took the jade slip from his hand, saying, Don't you know that sometimes you can't blindly trust others? Especially when we've known each other for less than a day. Mu Si didn't say anything. It was impossible for him to completely trust her. However, he was betting that if he won, he would find his father. Moreover, although they hadn't known each other for long, she told him directly that she would help him. Seeing him like this again, Sima Yue sighed and said, I'll think about it. Get up first. Mu Si hesitated for a moment and stood up. Have you seen the thing inside? She played with the jade slip. Was there really a treasure map inside? She was a little doubtful. Mu Si shook his head and said, There's a seal inside. I can't open it now. Oh. She separated a strand of divine sense and carefully probed inside. As expected, there was a layer of obstruction. This layer of restriction was very difficult for Mu Si, but it was very easy for her. She used a little bit of force and her divine sense entered the layer of restriction. The jade slip didn't have the treasure map that Mu Si mentioned. There was only a figure inside. It should be the divine sense that his father left behind. Feeling someone enter, the divine sense opened its eyes. When it saw that it wasn't its son, but an unknown girl, its expression changed and asked, Where's my child? Don't worry, Mu Si is fine. Sima Yue said. He let me in. He's outside right now. You can feel it. Mu Si's father, Mu Lianjie, sensed for a moment. After confirming that his child was fine, he looked at her and asked, Why did Mu Si give this to you? He thought that this was a treasure map and wanted me to find you, so he gave this to me. But from the looks of it, there isn't a treasure map here. Sima Yue said. There is indeed a treasure, but I didn't leave behind a treasure map. Mu Lianjie said. If you can find me, you might find the treasure. You didn't go to find the treasure, Sima Yue said with certainty. If you don't tell me the truth, I won't agree to his request. There is indeed a treasure in the place I went, but I didn't go there to find it. I went there to save someone. Save someone? Right, I know a friend. Although we haven't known each other for long, I promised that if something happened to him, I would save him. Who is he? I can't tell you who he is, but I think you should be able to guess, because you have a similar aura as him. Sima Yue was stunned and said, You went to save my father? So Sima Luxian is your father? Mu Lianjie smiled. Right. Where is he now? I don't know where he is. I only know that he went missing at Sunset Mountain. I will only know when I go there to look for him. Mu Lianjie said, Child, I want to entrust you with something. What is it? If I'm already dead when you find me, I want you to take Musi and leave this place. Sima Yue was silent for a while and said, Okay. Mu Lianjie fell into a deep sleep after getting her promise. It seemed like that was all he wanted to say to her. He had to preserve his energy and wait for his child to come in and give him instructions. The only official website of the online book bar. Everything else is fake. Chapter 13-16. Sima Yue sighed in her heart and said to the consciousness, If you're really not dead, I'll definitely take care of Musi. Mu Lianjie's lips curled up slightly. It seemed like he had heard her words. Musi looked at Sima Yue. Seeing the slight change in her expression, he knew that there should be no problem. After a while, Sima Yue withdrew her divine sense and returned the jade slip to him, saying, There's no treasure map inside. Nothing. Musi was shocked. How could there be nothing? Father clearly said that this was very important. If he disappeared, we could use this to find him. There's a trace of consciousness left behind by your father inside, Sima Yue said. He sealed it with a restriction so that you can enter when you're strong enough. Musi was a little disappointed. If this wasn't a treasure map, what right did he have to negotiate with her? Don't be disappointed. I promise you that I'll take you to your father, but I can't guarantee that I'll be able to find him. Because even he himself doesn't know what will happen when he goes there. Sima Yue said. Musi understood the meaning behind her words. She was saying that the future was unknown and his father might not be around anymore. Since there's no treasure map, then why did father tell others that he went to look for treasure? Musi didn't understand. I think firstly it's to cover your tracks. Secondly, it's to protect you, Sima Yue said. Since his father was a taboo topic here, Mu Lianjie definitely couldn't brazenly say that he was going to save him. But if he wanted to go out, he had to find a reasonable reason. In addition, if something happened to him, as long as the treasure hadn't appeared, Musi would be fine. At least, a so-called friend like Yangzi would raise him with a purpose. However, she couldn't tell Musi about this right now. It would be best if she could still find Mu Lianjie. If she couldn't, then she would tell him the truth. After the commotion, they were no longer in the mood to eat. Sima Yue put away the food and took out the tables and chairs to decorate the house. Finally, it looked like a house for people to live in. There were only 2 bedrooms. After Sima Yue kicked Di Wu into Musi's room, she closed the door and thought about Mu Lianjie and her father. However, she didn't receive any news and couldn't think of anything. She sighed and decided to cultivate tonight. In order to ensure their safety, she casually set up a boundary around the courtyard. Then the 3 of them either slept or cultivated. The courtyard was noisy for a while before it finally quieted down in the afternoon. Compared to the tranquil courtyard, the outside of Ghost City was in chaos. In the morning, the young master of the Zhang family was killed. In the afternoon, Meng Tianshan's life jade was broken. The 7th master of the Pang family was also dead. The young master of the Pang family was missing. He couldn't find any trace of him, even with the secret method. This series of events caused the several families to explode. If at the beginning they were still suspicious of Zhang Shua chasing after that refugee, then now they were completely at a loss. because there were so many guards. It wasn't something a brat could deal with. Especially Pang Chi, he was half a step into the paragon rank. It was because he was powerful that he was sent to protect the young master. Now that he was dead and the young master was missing, they determined that the suspect was someone above the paragon rank. However, there were many people like that in the entire Ghost City. It wasn't easy to find out who it was. However, no matter how difficult it was, they had to investigate. How could they let someone who dared to kill their young master, and so many guards off? Especially when it concerned their reputation, they had to investigate. The Pang family had to investigate even more because their young master's whereabouts were unknown. If it wasn't for the fact that his life jade was still intact, they would probably go berserk like the Zhang family. Zhang family's residence meeting hall. The person who went out to investigate today was kneeling in front of the Zhang family's elder, Zhang Qi. Zhang Shua's position in the Zhang family wasn't particularly high. Although they sent people to investigate, it wasn't enough to trouble the entire elder group and the clan head. The clan head sent Zhang Qi to be in charge of this matter. It was already considered important. If it was someone else, he would probably send a steward to be in charge. What did you find? Zhang Qi asked. Replying to elder, we saw young master Zhang Shua's schedule today. Everyone said that he chased that brat Mu Si to a remote place. The leader of the guard said. Then why didn't you capture that Mu Si? Zhang Qi asked. That Mu Si shouldn't be. Also, his identity is special. It's not good for us to capture him. The guard replied. Why? His father is Mu Lianjia. Hearing Mu Lianjia's name, Zhang Qi's eyes narrowed. It's actually him. Yes. Because of the city lord's decree, we can't easily capture Mu Si. The guard said. However, that Mu Si can't possibly kill young master Zhang Shua. Mu Lianjia's son, shouldn't he be more powerful? Zhang Qi asked. Replying to elder, this Mu Si isn't Mu Lianjia's real son. He was brought back when he went outside 15 years ago. The guard said. That's why he's only a 15-year-old child. He's only been cultivating for a few years. How could he have the strength to kill so many guards and young master Zhang Shua? Young master Zhang Shua and a few other young masters and young mistresses from other clans would beat him half to death. Zhang Qi thought about it and eliminated Mu Si. Since he was someone without any conditions, there was no need to think too much about it. Since those people saw Zhang Shua chasing after Mu Si, then Mu Si might have discovered something. You guys go to his place and investigate. See if you can find any clues. Zhang Qi said. Yes, elder. On the second day, Sima Yue was disturbed by the movement from the enchantment. When she woke up from her meditation, Mu Si had already gone outside to walk around, and came back. Her enchantment was to prevent outsiders from coming in and disturbing her, but it didn't prohibit the people inside from leaving. Mu Si didn't think that he would encounter an obstruction when he entered the courtyard. He walked forward with his head lowered. When he felt the courtyard, he walked in, but he didn't expect to be blocked outside. He used all his strength to rush forward, but he was rebounded by a force and fell to the ground. He was still wondering why he couldn't enter the courtyard when a ripple flashed by. Sima Yue's voice was heard. Come in. Mu Si climbed up and patted the dust off his clothes. He slowly tried to enter, and this time, there was nothing blocking him. Where did you go? Sima Yue opened the door and asked. I went out for a walk to see the situation outside. Mu Si said. What was that just now? Enchantment. Don't you know? Mu Si shook his head and said. My father rarely taught me these things. When I was able to cultivate, he had already disappeared. Sima Yue saw his curious eyes and couldn't help but ask, do you want to learn? Chapter 13-17. Mu Si's eyes lit up. Can I? This spirit barrier is neither difficult nor simple. If there's a chance in the future, I can pass it to you. Sima Yue said. I think father should know how to do it. You can find him and ask him to pass it to you. Mu Si knew that Sima Yue didn't have time to teach him now. If there was time in the future, he could learn from her. What did you see when you went out today? Can you get out of the city? Sima Yue asked. No. Musi said. It said that something happened in the forbidden area, so the entire city was sealed. No matter if it's human or ghost, they can't get out of the city. Furthermore, Zhang clan, Meng clan and Pang clan were searching everywhere. They interrogated whoever they caught, so there were fewer people on the streets. They didn't catch you when you went out? Diwu asked. They caught me for a while, but they let me go when they saw that it was me. Musi said. You were bullied in the past, so they naturally wouldn't believe that you could kill Zhang Shua and the rest. Sima Yue said. I reckon they've already set their sights on Paragon rank and above. To be able to kill a half-step Paragon, in their opinion, it must be a half-step Paragon and above. Sima Yue said. That's good too, it can save us a lot of trouble. You're saying that they'll still find their way here? Diwu asked. Zhang Shua chased after Musi and left, then he was killed. Sima Yue said. No matter if he did it or not, they'll send someone to question him. That's true. Diwu nodded. These big clans love to vent their anger on others. They might even hang him up and beat him up. Alright, stop scaring him. Sima Yue said. But Musi, do you know what they'll say if they find you? They'll say that they chased me to a small alley and met you there. You saved me. When we left, he was still alive. Musi said. Sure. In any case, no one saw what happened after that. As for how that guy got to the forbidden area, how would they know? But young miss, we have to think of a reasonable identity. If not, how are we going to leave if we stay here? Diwu said. If those people ask, just say that we are just a small family in the north of the city. We happened to pass by and saw them bullying Musi, so we saved him. Sima Yue said. That's all? Those people aren't fools. Why would they believe us? As long as they send someone to investigate, we'll be doomed. Diwu said. They're busy looking for the murderer. How would they have the time to investigate us? Sima Yue said. Besides, the managers of the north and the south are like fire and water. It won't be easy to investigate. How could this be? If it's someone else, it might be easier. But if it's the Zhang family, I'm afraid that they'll be stopped the moment they enter the northern district, Sima Yue said with a smile. That's true. Isn't the Zhang family the manager of the south? The people there will definitely pay attention to them. But young miss, what if their investigation is successful? Diwu said. Then we'll be unlucky. We'll think of a way to leave by then. Sima Yue said. Oh right, have you eaten breakfast? I ate a little. Musi replied. What he didn't say was that after eating the food she made yesterday, he didn't feel like eating the buns anymore. He usually ate 3 big buns, but he only ate 1 today. You didn't eat well, right? I'll get you something to eat. Sima Yue said as she took out her cooking utensils. She cooked a pot of mixed porridge, baked a few pancakes and fried 2 side dishes for him. Although he usually ate porridge and pancakes, but the food she made was delicious. Diwu felt that there were benefits to being with Musi. At least he could eat a lot of young Mrs. food. This was a treatment that Di Lu and even Master didn't have. But why was young Miss so nice to this guy? Especially after looking at the Jade Scroll. The way she looked at him was different. What was inside the Jade Scroll? He was very curious, but since young Miss didn't say, it was useless for him to ask. Sima Yue looked at Musi's head and felt apologetic. She felt heartache and pity for him. She didn't expect that his father went missing because he went to save her father. If Mu Lianjie was still alive, she could help him find his father. But if he was no longer in this world, then she would feel guilty towards him for the rest of her life. Especially when she thought about how he lived alone at such a young age, and was bullied for so many years. She felt that she had to make it up to him. Musi felt her gaze and raised his head to ask, "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Sima Yue smiled. "How is it? Is it delicious?" You're a boy and you're still growing. Cultivation will consume your energy, eat more." Musi. Yangzi came in from outside and saw the 3 of them eating in the courtyard. The scene was heartwarming and made him feel a sense of danger. "Uncle Yangzi, you're here." Musi smiled and waved at him saying, "See, you made some food and it's delicious. Do you want to try it?" Yangzi looked at the pots and pans at the side and recognized that they were spirit weapons. He was even more guarded against Sima Yue. It does smell good. But I don't eat these things anymore. You can eat it yourself, he said as he walked over. He found that the food Sima Yue made for Musi were all spirit dishes. Even if it was just a bowl of rice, he could feel the spirit energy contained in it. This kind of thing was much more useful than the few low-grade crystal stones that he had given to her. You're called Siyu? Yangzi looked at Sima Yue. Yes. Sima Yue calmly replied. Uncle Yangzi, why are you here? Did something happen outside? Musi asked. It's a mess outside. Yangzi said, the Zhang, Ming and Pang families are catching suspicious people. Why are you still? He didn't finish his sentence, but it was obvious that he wanted to ask why he let these people stay in the house. Uncle Yangzi, Siyu and the rest aren't suspicious people. They're from the Si family in the north of the city. Yangzi said. Siyu said that she hasn't been to the south before, so she came here to play. It's so chaotic outside. They definitely won't be able to find a place to stay. They just saved me yesterday. It's rare that they don't mind that I don't have anything here. How can I let them go? But the north and south of the city aren't on good terms. If the Zhang family finds out, it'll be even more troublesome. Yangzi said. Look, the Zhang family is here. Everyone looked up and saw a group of people walking in from outside. Chapter 13-18. Sima Yue looked at those people. They were wearing Zhang family's uniform. They should be Zhang family's guards. Yangzi went forward and cupped his hands towards the leader of the guards. He smiled. Guard Peng, what brings you to the refugee camp today? So it's Yangzi. Why are you here? Zhang Peng sized Yangzi up. He was wondering if this fella killed young master Zhang Shua. Zhang Shua bullied Musi. This fella had always been on good terms with Musi. He took care of him. It was possible that he killed young master Zhang Shua because of him. Yangzi knew what he was thinking from his expression. He quickly explained. Guard Peng, don't think too much. I didn't kill your family's young master. It's really not you? Zhang Peng didn't believe him. Now in their eyes, anyone who could be the culprit was a suspect. It's really not me. You can go and investigate. When young master Zhang Shua died, I was busy working with everyone in the shop. Yangzi said. I will investigate. Zhang Peng snorted. I also hope it's not you. We still have some friendship. If it's really you, then our friendship isn't enough. I will definitely capture you back. Don't worry, it's not me. I have a witness. Yangzi smiled. Alright, Guard Peng, why are you here? Are you suspecting that Musi killed young master Zhang Shua? With Musi's ability, can he kill him? Zhang Peng said. I'm here under Elder Qi's orders to ask Musi some questions. Is Elder Qi the one asking about this matter? Yangzi was taken aback and asked with some surprise. That's right, Elder Qi is the strictest among all the elders. The murderer will definitely not be able to escape. Zhang Peng said. Alright, stand aside, don't disturb me. Alright. Yangzi retreated to the side, avoiding Zhang Peng's line of sight. His gaze landed on the few people who were having breakfast. When he saw Sima Yue and Di Wu, he felt that they were unfamiliar. They were definitely not from here. He came to Di Wu and asked, Who are you? Master. Di Wu was about to say something arrogant, but Sima Yue glared at him. Cough cough, I'm Di Wu, my lady's follower. Zhang Peng looked at Sima Yue and said, Miss? Which family's young mistress was that? Why do you look so unfamiliar to me? Sima Yue put down her chopsticks and smiled. I am Siyu, the daughter of the Si family in the north of the city. From the north of the city? Zhang Peng frowned. They had not seen many people from the north of the city. However, he seemed to have heard of the Si family before. It seemed to be a rather large family in the northern part of the city. It was said that they had a good relationship with the manager there. If she was really from the Si family, then she had to be careful. Yes. Sima Yue said, if bodyguard Peng doesn't believe me, you can send someone to investigate. I don't think anyone would dare to impersonate someone from the Si family, right? Hearing her words, Zhang Peng was more or less convinced about her identity. Indeed, no one would dare to impersonate someone from the Si family. much less say such things after impersonating them. Since you are Miss C, why would you come to the north of the city and be with Mu Si? Zhang Ping asked. Sima Yue blinked her eyes. This fellow did not doubt her at all, and his attitude was much better. Could there really be a Si family in the north of the city? Yang Zi was also stunned. Mu Si did not know about the Si family, but he did. No wonder she could take out such good furniture to cook. Sima Yue glanced at their reactions and knew that she had guessed correctly. It seemed that not only was there a Si family in the north of the city, this Si family's status was not low. Didn't I come out to play? She smiled and said. Coincidentally, when I walked here yesterday, I saw a group of people bullying Mu Si, so I went up to save him. Did you kill my young master? Don't tell me your young master is that fatty with a big head and big ears wearing a flashy red outfit. Sima Yue said. Young master Zhang Shua is indeed quite fat. Zhang Peng said. So you really did kill my young master? No, I didn't kill that fatty. I hate fatty the most. I don't even want to touch a fatty when I see one. Why would I kill him? Sima Yue said. I only killed a few guards and saved this little fellow. You really didn't kill my young master? I said I didn't. It's up to you to believe it or not. Sima Yue's face darkened, and she was a little angry. Miss C, don't be angry. This is just a routine interrogation. Zhang Peng said. Are you done? If you are, then hurry up and get lost. My eyes hurt just looking at you. Sima Yue was furious. She was indeed a young miss from a big family. Her spoiled temper was the same as the other young misses in the family. However, since they were outside, this kind of temperament would not be of much use, especially when she was in someone else's territory. Zhang Peng suppressed the anger in his heart and said, Miss C, you are the young miss of the Si family. This refugee camp is not suitable for you to stay in. My Zhang family is the manager of the southern part of the city. Since you are here, we naturally have to be the host. Why don't you move over to the Zhang family? I'm not going. Sima Yue rejected. I'm comfortable here. I don't want to move. Miss C, this place is old and run down. How can it fit you? Why don't you come with us to the Zhang family? Zhang Peng said. As long as it's pleasing to the eye and comfortable to stay, I'll be happy to stay in a place like this. Sima Yue said. I once heard from my father that the Zhang family is not very friendly. I'm afraid that I'll be bullied if I go there. So it's better for me to stay here. Miss C, don't you want me to go to the Zhang family so that they can interrogate me if I killed your young master? I'll give you peace of mind today. As she spoke, she placed her hand on her heart and said, I swear to the god of darkness that my men and I definitely did not kill Zhang Shua. We didn't even touch him. If I'm lying, let me fall into eternal hell. Then, a ray of black light entered her chest. After a while, she did not feel any discomfort. Zhang Peng did not expect this Miss C to have some brains. She knew that he did not sincerely invite her to stay, and use such a method to prove her innocence. From their point of view, since Miss C came out to play, she definitely had more than one follower. There must be an expert protecting her in the dark. She did not kill anyone. But that did not mean that her guards did not kill anyone. He wanted her to go to the Zhang family to lure out the people behind her. However, he could not brazenly take her away. Now that the oath had proven her innocence, he could also eliminate her as a suspect. Miss C, you misunderstood. I didn't mean it that way, Zhang Peng said. It doesn't matter whether you meant it that way or not, Sima Yue said. I'm not like those people who think that it's okay to make an oath. If this can prove my innocence and save me a lot of trouble, I'm willing to do it. That day, I saved Mu Si and left. As for what happened to your young master, he doesn't know either. So there's nothing for you to ask. Please go back. Chapter 13:19. Zhang Peng's face was red. He wanted to flare up, but when he saw Sima Yue's arrogant look, he felt guilty instead. He was smart enough to understand that he had to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. A woman who could be so arrogant must have something to rely on. Mu Si went out this morning. I heard that not only was the young master of the Zhang family killed, But the young mistress of the Meng family was also killed. Oh right, a half-step supremacy from the Pang family was also killed. The young master of the Pang family also went missing. Even their secret technique couldn't track them down. Mu Si is just a child. The person you're looking for is at least a supremacy. Sima Yue said. Look at Mu Si. Does he look like one? Miss Si, don't be angry. Everyone saw Mu Si with young master Zhang Shuo. That's why we came over to ask if anything suspicious happened. Zhang Peng said. Since you said that you left with him, I guess you didn't see what happened after that. We still have other places to investigate, so we'll take our leave first. Take care. Sima Yue said faintly. Goodbye. Zhang Peng waved his hand and all his subordinates retreated. He cupped his hands at Sima Yue and left as well. He didn't even look at Yang Zi. Come, continue eating. Don't let these things affect your appetite. Sima Yue put some food into Mu Si's bowl. Mu Si looked at Sima Yue. She was so domineering just now. They had only known each other for 2 days, but she had shown so many sides. She was cunning when she saved people, decisive when she killed people, warm and kind when she was nice to him, and domineering when she faced Zhang Peng. How could a person have so many sides? Well, I didn't expect you to be the young mistress of the Si family. Please forgive me if I offended you, Yangzi said. Not really, but I want to stay at Mu Si's place while I'm playing in the south of the city. That shouldn't be a problem, right? Sima Yue said. No problem. Why would there be a problem? Yangzi said. This is Mu Si's house. If he says it's okay, then there's no problem. That's good. Sima Yue smiled and looked at him. This Mu Si has always listened to you since he was young. If you say no, he can't go against it. Mu Si, your uncle Yangzi already said that there's no problem. Can you rest assured and let me stay here now? See, what are you saying? Of course I welcome you to stay. Mu Si said. That's good. For some reason, Yangzi felt that Sima Yue's smile was very warm when she faced Mu Si, but when she looked at him, although she was smiling, it made him feel a chill from the bottom of his heart. Could it be that she also knew about the treasure map? Mu Si, since you're fine here, I still have something to do in the shop. I'll go back first. All right, Uncle Yangzi. A trace of fear flashed across Yangzi's eyes, but he had no choice but to turn around and leave. When there was no one around, Diwu then asked the question in his mind. Miss, how did you know that there's a Si family in the north of the city, and even let this little fellow call you Siyu? That's right. I didn't know that there's a Si family in the north of the city, Mu Si said. Sima Yue shrugged and said, I don't know either. This is probably the so-called hit the nail on the head by a fluke. From those people's reaction, this Si family should be a big family in the north of the city. If they want to investigate, they can easily find out, Diwu said. That's true too, Sima Yue said. I originally wanted to say that it's a small family so that they would have to spend some time to investigate. But from the looks of it, this Si family is quite famous. They can just ask directly. Didn't you say that they wouldn't have any results even if they went to the north of the city? Mu Si was still young and didn't think so much. If Zhang family wants to send people to the north of the city to investigate, it's not easy if they don't have a target. But if they have a target, they just need to send people to ask. After all, there will always be people paying attention to big family matters, Sima Yue explained. Then aren't you in danger? Mu Si said. You're worried about me? Sima Yue supported her chin with her palm and asked with a smile. Mu Si lowered his head and said, We just met. Why would I be worried about you? I've never worried about others. Sima Yue looked at him with a smile. This arrogant fella who said one thing and meant another was quite cute. But to be honest, Missy, if they find out that you're not here, we'll definitely be in trouble. What should we do then? Diwu asked. Don't you know that there's a saying, counter soldiers with arms, water with an earthware? But there are so many of them. There are probably millions of them in this city. How can we deal with them all? Diwu said worriedly. That's true, Sima Yue sighed. Seems like we have to think of a way to leave the city. The city is sealed everywhere now. How can we leave? Mu Si said. Don't worry. Even if we're exposed, I have a way to hide from those people. Sima Yue said. If they really found out, she could just change her appearance. Anyway, with 1,000 resonants around, it was just a piece of cake. Di Wu and Mu Si subconsciously believed her when they saw her confident look. It was as if as long as she was around, everything would be fine. Mu Si looked at her blankly. His father used to be like that too. He was very confident in everything he said. But the last time he said that he would definitely come back, he didn't come back after so many years. Father. Sima Yue saw his expression turning sad, and knew that he must be thinking about his father. She said, "Are you guys done eating? If you're done, let's go out for a walk." Go out for a walk? The two of them looked at her in disbelief. Yeah. Since Zhang family already knows about us, there's nothing to hide. Sima Yue said, since we're in this city, we have to take a look around. Who knows, we might be able to discover something. That's true. Di Wu immediately became excited. Speaking of which, there are very few people from Ghost Realm who can come over. I can take a look and tell those fellows what this place looks like in the future. If not, those fellows will laugh their heads off when they know that I'm in Ghost City, but know nothing. Sima Yue looked at this fellow helplessly. He always wanted to show off to his brothers. His character was really, since that's the case, I'll bring you guys out and introduce you guys. Mu Si said. All right. They packed their things and left. As Mu Si lived in the slums, there were dilapidated houses on the way out. At the same time, Zhang Peng went back to report the news to Zhang Qi. Zhang Qi was shocked when he heard that it was Si family. He kept silent for a while before saying, "Send someone to Si family in the north of the city to investigate. Be careful not to make any noise." Chapter 1320. North of the city, in the central area, in the backyard of a magnificent courtyard, two people were sneakily talking about something. After that, one of them gave the other a bag of things and left with satisfaction. Please search, product hashtag, to see the most complete. Update the fastest. In less than half a day, the news from the north of the city was sent back to the Zhang family. Zhang Qi sat on a chair and looked at the kneeling Zhang Peng. Have you found anything? Yes, Elder. Zhang Peng said. We've already received news that the Si family does have a young mistress. Recently, she did leave the city's north and went to other areas to play. Are you sure it's the woman who was with Mu Si? Zhang Qi asked. I think so. It was said that when she left, she only brought a ghost guard with her. That Si only had one ghost guard by her side. Also, it's said that the Si family's young miss coming out to play is a secret. Many people in the north of the city don't know about it, and there's no news about it outside. If this Siyu isn't the young miss, she wouldn't know about this. If that's the case, then this Siyu really is the eldest young miss of the Si family. Zhang Qi said. I think it's pretty close to the mark, Zhang Peng said. Although the Si family has a good relationship with that person, if we kill their young miss now, I'm afraid it will cause a lot of trouble. Right now, Zhang Shua's matter is still unclear, and that supremacy is nowhere to be seen. Since the Si clan doesn't have much of a grudge with us, let's put this person aside for now. Zhang Qi said. Yes, Elder Qi. Everyone else, continue to investigate. We must find the person who killed Zhang Shua. If you don't have enough people, I'll transfer another 200 men to you. Yes. At that moment, Sima Yue, Mu Si, and Di Wu were still strolling in the city. They had no idea about this coincidence. If she knew, she would definitely thank this low-key young lady. She was truly a great person. However, out of all the young ladies she had met so far, only Xiaohong was a low-key person, so she didn't think that there would be other young ladies who kept such a low profile. What's more, he didn't expect that the young lady would come out to play. When the people on the street saw Sima Yue and Mu Si together, they looked at them as if they were looking at an idiot. She actually dared to be with someone like Mu Si. Was she tired of living? Who is that person? How daring. That's right. Zhang Shua had disappeared after chasing after Mu Si. The Zhang family would definitely look for him. This person still dared to be with him. Wasn't this a classic case of courting death? It would be terrible if the Zhang family treated him as an accomplice. I don't think so. Didn't they say that Zhang Shuo and Meng Tianshan were killed by the same person? Moreover, Pang Qi and Meng Tianshan of the Pang family had died around the same time. They should have been killed together. Pang Qi was a half-step supremacy. The person who killed him must be very strong. This little girl looked very young. How could it be her? That's true, but when the Zhang clan does things, they would rather kill the wrong person than let the wrong person go. Regardless of whether Mu Si had anything to do with Zhang Shuo's death, he couldn't escape. Since this woman dares to be with him, I don't even need to think to know what will happen to her. This woman is really beautiful. Aren't there a few lecherous people in the Zhang family? If I'm discovered, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep my life, but I'm afraid I'll end up in an even more miserable state. Ha ha ha, you don't know about this, right? Someone laughed. I saw it this morning. What did you see? In the morning, Zhang Peng brought people to Mu Si's house. I was far away and didn't hear anything, but I saw him leave dejectedly after hearing a few words from this woman. This woman is definitely not an ordinary person. Really? Of course it's true. That person said, why don't you think about it? If not, would Mu Si dare to swagger out now? That's true. In that case, this woman has a great background? Definitely. Otherwise, how could Zhang Peng run away with his tail between his legs? What a pity. I originally wanted to capture such a beautiful girl and have some fun. Damn fatty, don't even think about it. If you go, you'll probably be castrated. You won't be able to be a man in the future. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The surrounding people laughed. Although they guessed that her identity might not be ordinary, some people stopped thinking about it. However, there were too many lecherous people. There would always be some who wouldn't shed tears until they saw the coffin. Even if Mu Si wasn't strong, he could feel the wretched gazes of those people behind him. He didn't know why, but he felt a fire burning in his heart this time. Sima Yue felt that his mood wasn't right. She stopped and asked, what's wrong? Those people. Mu Si clenched his fist and glared at those people. After so many years, only she treated him well. He didn't want those people's wretched thoughts to taint her. Sima Yue glanced at those people and said, those people's eyes are on their bodies. What's the use of being angry? You can't just go up and kill them, right? But they're annoying. Mu Si said, wait until you're strong. Those people won't dare to treat you like that. They'll only be filled with fear. Sima Yue said, you can make them fear. Mu Si said with certainty. He believed that as long as she was willing, she could make those people close their eyes forever. Sometimes fear doesn't mean you have to rush up and beat them up. Sima Yue smiled evilly. Missy, what bad idea did you come up with again? Di Wu saw Sima Yue's smile and went up to her curiously. Did I? Yes. Di Wu said with certainty. I heard that every time you want to do something bad, you'll smile like that. Sima Yue was speechless. She squinted her eyes and stared at him. Who said that? Di Lu and the rest. Di Wu then noticed that Sima Yue's expression wasn't right. He chuckled and looked to both sides. Di Lu. When Di Wu heard Sima Yue mention Di Lu's name, his heart skipped a beat. Damn it, he seemed to have tricked old Sixth. Sima Yue looked at those people and said, we've been shopping for the whole day. Let's go back. Mu Si should be hungry. They decided to go back. Sima Yue turned back and smiled at those people after walking for a distance. Then, she brought the two of them back. Sima Yue made a big meal for Mu Si for dinner. Mu Si had never eaten such delicious food before. Plus, he was hungry, so he ate to his heart's content. Di Wu benefited a lot from it. Sima Yue was in a good mood when she thought about what happened tonight, so she ate quite a lot too. After eating, she kept the food and said, we have guests tonight. We have to take good care of them. Guests? Who? Sima Yue smiled. You'll know when the time comes. // / You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.